Assalamu alaikum and good morning to all. We would love to congratulate you on the birth of Imam Ali alayhi salam, as well as the birth of Hazrat Ali al-Asghar.
MashaAllah, it's a really great day today, and I'm so happy because the birth of Imam Ali alayhi salam is a very joyous occasion, and all of us must remember this special time. And we'd love to hear how you're celebrating today, so please do get in touch with us via our social media platforms.
Yes, please do let us know what you are doing and how you are celebrating this auspicious occasion. Actually, it was narrated in Sunni and Shia sources that the Holy Prophet turned to Imam Ali alayhi salam and said, Ali, you are to me like Aaron is to Moses. It is the common knowledge that Aaron was in fact the successor of Prophet Moses, like Imam Ali was the successor of the Holy Prophet after his martyrdom.
SubhanAllah, I love that hadith. It's very special, and thank you for sharing that with us. It's also been narrated that after at Ghadirakum, the Holy Prophet, peace be upon him, stated to thousands that Imam Ali alayhi salam was his successor, and the following verse in the Holy Quran was then revealed. This day I have perfected your religion for you, completed my favour upon you, and have chosen for you Islam as your religion. And that's chapter 5, verse 3.
Amazing. Well, on this great day in the studio, we have Brother Mustafa Ali with our very important Holy Quran recitation with Surah Baqarah, Ayah 102 and 103.
MashaAllah, great, looking forward to that. And straight after that we have Brother Ibrahim Al-Ansari on the couch with his daily du'as, and this includes a beautiful recitation, explanation about ziyarat. Amin Allah really is one of my favourites.
We also have psychotherapist Brother Bilal Ali, who is dropping by to discuss adolescent brain development. So personally I'm looking forward to that.
Definitely, very interesting. Today we also have a Moroccan recipe to come with life coach Fahima Muhammad and Sister Sana, so I really can't wait to try that.
Sounds delicious. And great for the Wilada today, I guess. We also have your fiqh questions and queries answered by our very own Sayyid Mohsin Shah regarding food etiquette. That's an important one, trust me. So for the competition details, stay tuned with Mustafa Khatib.
The holy city of Karbala is home to tragedies, heartbreak, as well as treasures and wonders. Millions from around the world come to this sacred city with their prayers and tears. As well as being home to Imam Hussein Media Group, it's the home and resting place of Abu Abdullah al-Hussein and his brother Abu Fadhil Abbas alayhum as-salam. Imam Hussein sacrificed his life for the sake of truth and preservation of the religion and teachings of his grandfather Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him. Imam Baraka says, order our Shia to visit the shrine of Imam Hussein alayhi salam, since doing so increases sustenance, extends life, removes evil, and that visiting the grave of Imam Hussein alayhi salam is a duty upon every believer who believes in imamat from Allah Almighty. So we invite you to come to Karbala and come to visit your Imam and perform ziyarah. Unfortunately, not everyone can come visit Imam Hussein. Not everyone has the ability or opportunity to visit regularly, and that's why Morning Baraka is giving you the opportunity to perform ziyarah from your very homes. We want you to send in your du'as and names of your loved ones so we can recite the ziyarah of Imam Hussein alayhi salam on their behalf. Maybe you have a loved one whose name you want to put forward, a marhum who would benefit, or maybe you miss Karbala and yearn to see Imam Hussein, peace and blessings be upon him. Why not send a small message or a dua for us to read here in the holy city of Karbala? Whoever's name you put, whatever dua or small message you have, the Morning Baraka team will pass it on to our team here in Karbala, and we will recite the ziyarah, read the message, and broadcast it on Imam Hussein TV3. Send in your names, du'as, and small messages to Morning Baraka @ Imam Hussein.tv, or messages, or leave a comment on any of our social media platforms. We look forward to hearing from you, and may Allah and the Ahlul Bayt accept all of our a'mal and our ziyarah, inshallah.
Yes, as you've seen, we have a jam-packed show today. So to kick off today's proceedings, as always, we're going to be joined by Mustafa Al-Ali, who's going to be enlightening us with the holy verses of the Quran. Mustafa, assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.
Mustafa, how are you?
Alhamdulillah, how about you?
Alhamdulillah, we're doing well. Thank you so much. And I believe today, inshallah, you're going to be reciting verses 102 to 103 of Surah Al-Baqarah. So again, once again, we very much look forward to hearing from you. So take it away.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. واتبعوا ما تتلو الشياطين على ملك سليمان وما كفر سليمان ولكن الشياطين كفروا يعلمون الناس السحر وما أنزل على الملكين ببابل هاروت وماروت وما يعلمان من أحد حتى يقولا إنما نحن فتنة فلا تكفر فيتعلمون منهما ما يفرقون به بين المرء وزوجه وما هم بضارين به من أحد إلا بإذن الله ويتعلمون ما يضرهم ولا ينفعهم ولقد علموا لمن اشتراه ما له في الآخرة من خلاق ولبئس ما شروا به أنفسهم لو كانوا يعلمون ولو أنهم آمنوا واتقوا لمثوبة من عند الله خير لو كانوا يعلمون صدق الله العلي العظيم.
Thank you once again to Mustafa Ali for another gracious recitation of the Holy Quran. Now we are at the part of the show where we are kicking off more or less the first segment of the show, looking into the common or not so common supplications, du'as, recitations, ziyaras within the literature of the Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam, and shedding some light. And who are we joined by, Zahra?
We are joined by, testing me because I don't get names right, but brother Ibrahim Al-Ansari, I do not forget. Thank you so much for joining us. Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you very much for having me. Alaikum salam wa
It's a
rahmatullah.
pleasure. I personally learn a lot hearing your interpretations, and obviously you do your background, so it's a wonderful moment for us to be able to share and start our day. So today we're going to speak about the birth of Imam Ali alayhi salam.
Inshallah, alayhi salam.
So do you want to explain what you've chosen and what you'll be reciting?
First of all, once again, congratulations to yourselves, to your families, and to the whole Islamic ummah, and in fact to the whole mankind, on the birth of Amir.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما سبحان الله والحمد لله ولا إله إلا الله والله أكبر ولله الحمد الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمد رسول الله أشهد أن محمد رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم أشهد أن عليا ولي الله أشهد أن عليا أمير المؤمنين وأبناءه المعصومين حجج الله صلوات الله عليهم أجمعين حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على خير العمل حي على خير العمل الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله لا إله إلا الله اللهم اغفر للمؤمنين والمؤمنات والمسلمين والمسلمات الأحياء منهم والأموات برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. الفاتحة مع الصلوات.
Brother Ibrahim Al-Ansari, I do not forget. Thank you so much for joining us. Assalamu
Thank you very
alaikum.
much for having me. Alaikum salam wa
It's a
rahmatullah.
pleasure. I personally learn a lot hearing your interpretations, and obviously you do your background, so it's a wonderful moment for us to be able to share and start our day. So today we're going to speak about the birth of Imam Ali alayhi salam.
Inshallah, alayhi salam.
So do you want to explain what you've chosen and what you'll be reciting?
First of all, once again, congratulations to yourselves, to your families, and to the whole Islamic Ummah, and
Absolutely.
in fact to the whole mankind,
Creation, yeah.
on the birth of Amir al-Mu'mineen, Mawla al-Muwahhideen, this amazing personality.
Definitely.
I don't think there's any tongue that can actually come close to describe him, to the extent where even Imam Zainul Abidin, who's an infallible, one day Imam al-Baqir, he looks at him and he says to him, "Oh father, I see you crying. Why are you crying so much?" He says to him, "I am reading the ibadah of your grandfather Amir al-Mu'mineen." And Imam Zain al-Abidin, he's known to be of those who are within ibadah, Zainul Abidin, the beauty of those who perform ibadah.
Wow.
I'm looking at the ibadah of your grandfather Amir al-Mu'mineen. He says to him, "So why do you cry so much?" He said, "Because who will ever reach
SubhanAllah.
Amir al-Mu'mineen?" So this amazing, great personality. In terms of what I chose,
He's an amazing personality, isn't he? Before you start there, that
Yeah.
people, is there something that says that he, people will either love him or loathe him? There's no in between, is there?
there's no in between at all. There's no in between at all. And the hadith that we have in terms of his love and in terms of his hate, we don't want to get into the detail of them, but
No.
we realize that whoever is of a pure heart, let's say,
Yes.
will always have the love of Amir al-Mu'mineen installed within them. And those who, let's say, hold some sort of hate, hold some sort of, come from a not a very pure origin, would always have some sort of hate towards Amir al-Mu'mineen. And of course, at the end of the day, he is the divider between good and evil.
Definitely. So, sorry, didn't mean to
Yeah.
carry on, please.
So I think you've chosen for today an extract from Ziyarat Aminillah.
So
What was that new word you learnt?
Extract.
No.
Oh, accept.
Yeah.
Oh, right,
Accept.
yes, yes.
I'm sure he's listening.
Just for the benefit of the viewers, and this is the first time you're tuning in. In the previous episode with Ibrahim, I had a particular issue with accept,
Yeah.
and I couldn't pronounce it properly. Although it's phonetically it's all over the place because it's got an E-X-C-E-R-P-T, but apparently it's pronounced accept. So today, in this episode, I've chosen to use extract just in case I make that mistake again. So,
Much easier.
in terms of the extract that you've chosen, it's from Ziyarat Aminillah.
yeah. So Ziyarat Aminillah is, in fact, so you just mentioned Imam Imam Sajjad, sorry, and Imam al-Baqir. And in fact, this specific ziyarah is narrated from Imam al-Baqir, who has heard it from Imam Sajjad. So he heard the ziyarah being recited by Imam Sajjad, and it is narrated from Imam al-Baqir. It is, if you go, inshallah, we're all blessed to visit Amir al-Mu'mineen in the city of Najaf. You'll realize that when you stand by the gates, there's a big board that has ziyarah to Aminullah. And this is the ziyarah that is actually mustahab to always recite when you are going on ziyarah towards him. The ziyarah in itself is very beautiful. The ziyarah, it talks about Amir al-Mu'mineen, it is the Ma'soom. You see, there's something that we need to remember. When we talk about a Ma'soom talking towards a Ma'soom, it isn't just like any two human beings talking. So when the Ma'soom is telling the other Ma'soom, آتيت الزكاة, أمرت بالمعروف, نهيت عن المنكر, if he's telling him جاهدت في الله حق جهاده, of course the jihad is not necessarily fighting. Jihad is the struggle. You showed great struggle. It is in a way showing the true status of that specific Imam. And this actually, this extract, I'll go with Ali's way. This extract that was chosen, that I chose, is actually one way in which they were talking about how the one that relates to the status of Amir al-Mu'mineen. The other part of the ziyarah includes some du'as as well. This very first part is actually very specific to actually salutations towards the Imam.
All right. Please.
Inshallah. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. السلام عليك يا أمين الله في أرضه وحجته على عباده. السلام عليك يا أمير المؤمنين. أشهد أنك جاهدت في الله حق جهاده وعملت بكتابه واتبعت سنن نبيه صلى الله عليه وآله حتى دعاك الله إلى جواره فقبضك إليه باختياره وألزم أعداءك الحجة مع ما لك من الحجج البالغة على جميع خلقه. اللهم فاجعل نفسي مطمئنة بقدرك راضية بقضائك مولعة بذكرك ودعائك محبة لصفوة أوليائك محبوبة في أرضك وسمائك صابرة على نزول بلائك شاكرة لفواضل نعمائك ذاكرة لسوابغ آلائك مشتاقة إلى فرحة لقائك متزودة التقوى ليوم جزائك مستنة بسنن أوليائك مفارقة لأخلاق أعدائك مشغولة عن الدنيا بحمدك وثنائك. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I think in terms of the ziyarah, there is actually another ziyarah for Imam Ali alayhi salam, a much more specific ziyarah about his life. Correct me if I'm wrong.
There possibly is. Just it's with this specific ziyarah. First of all, we like to talk about sanad a lot. The sanad is very strong. The recommendations of the ziyarah, we find many narrations which recommend the ziyarah, and we realize that it is in fact the ziyarah that most of the infallibles would use when visiting Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salatu wasalam. And when we look at the ziyarah itself, we realize that, so for example, when I said earlier that when a ma'soom is talking to a ma'soom, so when he says to him, جاهدت في الله حق جهاده, then وعملت بكتابه. An infallible is saying that this person actually worked according to the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that is very, very important, and especially in the eyes of those who hate Amir al-Mu'mineen. Many of them try to come and say that Imam Ali is bringing stuff from his own side pocket, he is doing this, he's doing... No, the Ma'soom is telling you, no. He worked based on the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And in fact, we realize in history that Amir al-Mu'mineen, in fact, at one point, rejected Khilafah because they tried to order him to tell him that if you want to actually take Khilafah, that on top of following the book of Allah, and on top of following the Prophet, you must follow another thing which we will stay away from mentioning. Amir al-Mu'mineen replies what? He says, I will only follow the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the sunnah of the Prophet. Very fiercely. Those are the only two things that I will work with, and which is why you realize that Amir al-Mu'mineen, within his akhlaq, within his manners, within the way he talks to people, Rasulullah would then refer to him, Ya Ali, هذا كتاب الله الصامت وأنت كتاب الله الناطق. You are the book of Allah that walks on the ground, that talks, and this is the one that is just scripture. Because he embodied whatever the Quran held within his personality.
SubhanAllah.
I think you could just sit there all day.
Yeah.
It's just...
So it's very interesting to see that the infallible confirming the status of Imam Ali alayhi salam. And I mean, does it need another infallible to kind of really confirm the status of Imam Ali alayhi salam?
Of course. Imam Ali alayhi salam, his status was already confirmed by Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. It was confirmed by every single infallible that came, even by Fatima to Zahra alayhi salatu wasalam, with her lengthy speech that she spoke before she had passed away. However, when we look at the infallibles confirming status, it is not that they are in need. Just like Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not in need of us to worship Him. He is not in need for us to thank Him. It is not a need. Whereas when the infallible actually confirms the status, it is to tell the people of his time, and it is to tell the people to come, those who his message will reach to. So for example, we are sitting here talking about Imam al-Baqir confirming this. It is to make sure and echo that this is Amir al-Mu'mineen. Because in every single era that you will live in, you will find people who hate Amir al-Mu'mineen. You'll find people who will try to fight against Amir al-Mu'mineen. Amir al-Mu'mineen is not in need for us to confirm his status.
Yes.
But his status must be shown. Because only through him you will find Rasulullah. And only through Rasulullah you will find Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Can I ask you then, based on, beautifully explained, but my mind goes towards people, us as Muslims, who look towards other people to give that affirmity towards Imam Ali, for instance. There's that Christian Lebanese, I don't know if you've heard, that he's written a book.
or something.
I can't remember, I have his book at home even. But he's written a lot of praise about Imam Ali, he's a Christian. Do you think as Muslims we look towards others and giving that sort of praise, thinking it's almost like validating what we believe? Or do you think that that's also necessary for us to say, you know, actually his character was such, universally appeals to, you know, whoever wants to have truth and justice in their lives, and many other attributes and nobility he had. But what do you think, what's your personal sort of take on when we sort of, oh look, a Christian's giving that validation to the Imam?
Of course, like I said, validations is not needed. Now, not to say it in a blunt way, but the validation of the Imam is not given through us by any means. Regardless if the person is Christian, Muslim, Jewish, whatever they may be. The validation of the Imam is not given through them. A validation of a specific person can only be given if the person is of a similar ranking or higher.
Yeah.
Now Imam al-Baqir and Imam al-Sajjad, because initially from Imam al-Sajjad, he's not higher than Amir al-Mu'mineen. No. He's not on the same level either, but he's the highest that he can get until he can reach Amir al-Mu'mineen. And in fact, within this validation that he gives, it's because we only focused on this very first part that we are focusing solely on just validation, whereas when we look at the rest of the ziyarah, and even within this extract that is present, Imam al-Sajjad first, because we need to remember that whatever comes from the Ma'soom is lessons for us as well. Imam al-Sajjad first says that this is what he did. He validated his character in terms of how he lived his life. Then After which he says, Allahumma faj'al nafsi mutma'innatan biqadarik, radiyatan biqada'ik. Oh Allah, if I can find the translation, he says, Oh Allah, make my soul satisfied with your decree, pleased with what you have destined for me, fond of your remembrance and supplications, loving your chosen friends, well liked on your earth and on your heavens, patient when you send down afflictions. We realize that all of these attributes mentioned are all attributes that Amir al-Mu'mineen had. So similarly, when we talked in Ziyarah Jami'ah, when he first said Ajsadukum fil Ajsad, and this is how you live, you are just like us normal human beings, then relate, this is telling us that this is the best example that you will find. Why? Because he struggled in the way of Allah, the best way anyone can struggle. Then he worked towards the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the best of ways. He followed the sunnah, the way of the Prophet, in the best of ways. Therefore, what else do you want? This is the best of the best. Therefore, let's live our lives in the same way that Amir al-Mu'mineen had lived his life.
Brilliant. Brilliant.
I mean, honestly, every Thursday when you recite the Kamal, you just think, the most humbling experience even for you to read, and you think, who's the author of that? And you think, subhanAllah, how he, his humility, and yet his position Allah and the Holy Prophet has given him.
And that's only one of the many du'as.
Exactly.
Dua al-Sabah is another amazing du'as with amazing meanings behind it. And in fact, maybe if we possibly get one of the days where we have a chance to talk about Dua al-Sabah, unbelievable meanings behind it.
Unfortunately, that brings our time to a close, just for this particular segment, ladies and gentlemen, dear viewers of the show. Ibrahim, once again, me and Zahra are very, very much in gratitude towards you and the amount of wisdom that you give us in terms of the specific the significance of these du'as and recitations. So we really, really appreciate your time. On that note, Zahra, we are going to be joining yourself after the break with Brother Bilal for specialist segment. So stay tuned.
Imam Hussein Media Group is a virtual university that works on a global scale to spread the true message of the Prophet and the Ahlul Bayt, peace and blessings be upon them. Imam Hussein TV was established 10 years ago in the city of Isfahan, Iran. We work to cover all aspects of religion, Islamic jurisprudence, politics, philosophy and many more, and aim to bring the public's attention to the righteous Islamic sect, Shia Islam. Our ultimate goal as a media group is to convey the interpretations of the Holy Quran as well as the traditions and knowledge of the Holy Prophet and his progeny, may Allah's peace and blessings be upon them. Our objectives are to protect and safeguard the Shia youth from the destructive impact of immoral ideologies, standing up against injustice by documenting the oppression of Shia across the globe, as well as encouraging peace and unity amongst the Muslims. To reach our aims and serve the Muslim Ummah, we require a budget that would cover all the expenses for our productions, allowing us to work on different projects. Imam Hussein Media Group is a crowd-funded project. We have no sales nor do we charge for our services. We solely rely on monthly payments, financial contributions, donations, religious alms and generous gifts. The expenses of each production varies depending on the type of project and the style of filming. There are many elements to a production that requires time and capital. The producer must analyze the costs of the venue hire, equipment, transport, feature fees, set design, staff support and further additional costs. The Holy Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him and his family, narrated, "The best of people is he from whom people benefit." It is up to you to help the Muslim Ummah come together and help guide the youth in remaining on the correct path of Islam. To take part in this global conquest and to spread the message of Imam Hussein, peace and blessings be upon him, please visit www.imamhussein3.tv or give us a call on +44 0203 515 0199. You can also contact us via WhatsApp, Telegram, SMS, or even email us on donate@imamhussein.tv. Let's work together hand in hand to elevate the faith of our Shia youth today?
Welcome back, dear viewers. So we've just had our daily du'as, and that was a lovely start to the day, and hope you enjoyed that as well. We are now going to be introducing Brother Bilal Ali to the specialist, where today's discussion that we're going to be having is about adolescent brain development. And there's a lot of hot topics going on at the moment in the media. So firstly, Assalamu alaikum, Brother Bilal.
Alaikum salam.
Welcome again.
Thanks,
Another
thanks
morning.
for inviting me.
Another morning and another discussion.
Oh yeah.
So I've been reading recently about talking about letting teenagers start school, college later, 10 a.m. because they're not programmed to sort of have early morning starts, and it's affecting their mental health, their productivity, and then also being aware that in some European countries children don't start school till 7 years old, and obviously Europe being our neighbours, it's quite different from the UK, isn't it? What do you think in terms of development for children? What is your sort of personal perspective on how we should be nurturing the adolescent brain and getting the best out of?
That's a really interesting question, Sister Zahra. That's a really interesting question. I think that we have to look at the educational system. So we're in Britain. So the educational system in Britain was devised 50 years ago, 100 years ago, 100 years ago plus. And what was the reasoning behind the educational system coming together? For example, in the Muslim world, we're told as Muslims that we should seek knowledge as far as China, and we're told in the Quran, Iqra, read, and there's all these different things about gaining knowledge. We gain we gain specialisms, or we just gain insights. Is it to become a more productive member of the society? Is it to work towards reaching your goal, your spiritual goal, and reaching the ultimate, reaching Jannah, inshallah, and be able to help people along the way, and whatever the case may be, and take care of your responsibilities. But in the West, is a different. The educational system that we've inherited is a different reason.
Right.
It's come out of the industrial revolution, or response to the industrial revolution, and so we have education on an industrialized level. So it's not about there isn't that much time to work out who is or wasn't that much time to work out who's a kinetic learner, who learns by touch, who learns by sound, who learns by visuals and things of this nature. It needs to be uniform, because why? The factory needs to open at 9 and it needs to shut at 5. So we need to condition these people to be able to gain a certain level of literacy, numeracy, so that they can provide certain functions in the factory, and kind of like when the whistle goes, break for lunch, when the peeps go to your next lesson, when the, so it's about it's been very productive. It's been being built. I'm not just critiquing it. I'm analyzing it and saying it's quite competent people that put this together. However,
but it's not one size fits all, though, is it?
That's where that's where we have the challenge, because there's so many different types of people in terms of learning approaches, in terms of, as you said, I kind of infer that maybe the children are starting to go to school too early. There's some Islamic literature that says you shouldn't really teach children till they're 7. Just let them play a bit. Just start drilling stuff into them so early. I know we're an organism, but there's only so much you can kind of take, and you burn people out.
I mean, we're seeing obviously with the adolescent, age, and how people learn at schools. They're not, like you said, there's such different methods, and we're learning more and more how children react and respond to different methods of learning. So we still haven't updated our techniques of how to, I guess, deliver that, that new research.
Definitely. We could learn that as a Muslim community. I mean, you watch some of the methods in terms of, and this is no slight, but you watch those film footage of children, Alif, Ba, and giving them,
I had that as a child.
And I kind of wonder as a student of psychology that I fear about. Well, I see, apart from it just being unkind, but what about you're learning Arabic, you're learning the Book of Allah, and that pain is inflicted. Are you going to get like a kind of classical condition, like an aversion, or there's a negative association? So that's kind of worrying. But children are so unique, And the point of the matter is that everybody learns differently, and some people are geniuses, but they never get to access that because their learning style wasn't discovered. And you know, it's a shame. It's a loss for them, but also a loss for the community.
And I think you're right, because if we're looking at a sort of an industrial based education compared to sort of Islam, which is, you know, spiritual, religious, all of these sides of, you know, of a religion that embraces a human beings, you know, holistically and completely, that we're not really reaching our potential, where we don't focus on our spiritual development. We think about, right, I need to read this book, and that's my definition of success when I've graduated from a particular university with a particular degree, a particular profession. But actually that's probably not even touching base on the rest of us, that, you know, perhaps we could have gone through the years of school and really, you know, sort of been able to investigate what other options were available to us rather than this industrial version. And I think young adults, they are struggling with that, aren't they, of their identity in terms of what is best for them. Do they go towards sort of this religion and more about where their strengths are, focus on that, or do they go for what we are programmed in school, right? Get the grades, get those, you know. What would you say as a psychotherapist?
I see that a balance, the mizan, is what really would work, because there's the need for the psycho-spiritual development of the individual, but also we're living in a particular, say for example, those of us living in the West, we're living in particular types of societies where, you know, competence and productivity does have its place. I mean, it has its place everywhere, but in a particular way. Yeah, it has it, and you know, so in terms of meeting our responsibilities, for example, looking at the brothers, young men who become, I mean, young boys who are going to become men, they're going to have specific economic responsibilities as men when they grow up and become married. So, you know, there's that element. There's that element to it. So I've you know, looked at some older literature and looked at some models in, say, for example, West Africa, where even when people were studying to become, what we would use the term nowadays, clerics, right, that they would also be taught a trade, a specific trade, something specific, shoemaking, blacksmith, whatever it was, but some particular trade that, as well as being a cleric, there was a kind of, you know, they had a skill that were related to becoming a, you know, employable or being an entrepreneur. And that, I think that means that that person was free to be a cleric as, or, you know, as a full vocation and a spiritual calling, or they just had that knowledge and insight and could benefit people themselves as well, but they were maybe the local tradesmen as well.
So do you think, because something that's really always been interesting in you know, during my travels, is seeing how the West has you know, their attitude towards children and development of children, and then the East, where, you know, struggles, war, poverty, third world countries, their attitude is very different. So, you know, you'll see more child labour on the streets, it's very obvious there. And the disparity between the two regions in the world, are we sort of, not strictly East and West, but do you think that there's more work to be done on that side of the world to understand children need, or is it a right attitude to say, you know what, just get up and get on with it? It's not, you know, so do we mollycoddle our children on this side, or do you think it's something, are we too soft, or are we too strict on that side?
I think that there's something, there are benefits. You know, I mean, a few hundred years ago in this country, as much as Britain may boast of being, you know, a bastion of democracy and or things of this nature, you know, everybody's developing. Every country is a developing country. Because it wasn't that long ago they were sending children up chimneys and you know, a whole Dickensian thing and you know, children begging in the streets and whatever. So I think that Britain has done a good job, and many Western countries have done a good job with things like you know, it's inherent now in, if you work in institutions that involve children, there's all, you know, safeguarding and child protection legislation. So I think those are good things. I think that there's no shame in Muslim societies learning from those things. I don't think we should be egotistical as Muslims, because there was a time when we were setting the pace and other people was learning from us. And I think that what enabled Muslim societies to develop and reach certain heights was Muslims came into contact with other civilizations and were able to kind of absorb that knowledge and kind of integrate it into the Islamic world, as opposed to seeing it as that's Kafir knowledge and this is the Islamic halal knowledge and that stays over there. It was a way of kind of, you know, critiquing stuff and integrating what could be useful. So I think there is some benefit definitely in learning from some of the structures in terms of child protection and safeguarding of children. Because they are vulnerable. Children are vulnerable.
Yes, they are.
Children are vulnerable and they do need protecting in that way. So I think that's definitely commendable in the West, the part of the West.
It's quite sad because when you see children on the streets and it's the wisdom they've learned through their difficult life already that they've gone through, and I often look at them and think, do you have teenager tantrums or you're not allowed to have them because
are you allowed that luxury?
Are you allowed that luxury? Absolutely. And here we say, well, do they need to start at 10 a.m. and oh, he's having a temper tantrum because he's a teenager now, and we give there's so many excuses to teenagers here that and it's probably a good thing for them because we're understanding that hormones are.
You said teenager tantrums, and what's interesting is that there's research that's come out. It's been it's been the body of evidence has been building for a while, but talking about adolescent brain development, and the research is showing that children, I think probably around the age of 6, the brain is fully developed, about 90% developed, right into its entirety. In terms of his weight and size, whatever. But in terms of the connections, in terms of brain connections, that hasn't developed, and certain parts of the brain hasn't fully developed yet. So you have this part of the brain which is called the amygdala, and that's a more kind of emotion-driven, impulse-driven, aggression-driven part of the brain, and it's one of the first parts of the brain that develops. Hence the terrible twos and these different things of tantrums and impulsiveness and being emotional. Then there's the prefrontal cortex, which is the kind of critical brain, the brain that deals with judgment, analysis, abstract thinking and things of that nature. And that doesn't fully develop until something like the mid-20s.
Wow.
So what happens is, although it exists, but put in stressful situations or when there's not time to think, or if, rapid situations, that the teenagers often, their thought processes often revert to the amygdala, to the emotional brain. So think of it as a thinking brain and the feeling brain. So they work off of the feeling brain a lot, and that's why teenagers can be subject to, or partly this explains because there's a kind of neurological element, there's an environment element, there's a socializing element, there's all these different elements of the individual's personal psychological makeup as well. Some people are more introvert, extrovert, or different agreeable, disagreeable type of personality traits. But it basically gives us some insight into why teenagers can be impulsive, can be subject to mood swings, can be outraged, and take danger because risk and risk-taking behaviors as well is and from a neurological point of view is quite characteristic. It's from a neurological perspective, it's like not surprising that teenagers are risky because they're kind of, in a way, you could say, breaking away from the identity of the parent. Yes. And developing their own life experiences and their own identity. And like I said, neurologically, they're kind of wired to be risky because it makes sense that they're going to discover the world if they don't take risks. So there's an element of it that's healthy, but there's an element of it that gives parents, caregivers, elders palpitations when they find out the type of behaviors that sometimes teenagers are adolescents are involved in.
Yeah, it's interesting that in some ways, the way that you're explaining it, you could see it as a positive because they've got the environment where they can express themselves, and that may be to an adult, temperamental, maybe mood swings here and there, unpredictable, but it allows a child to give that expression, and at that point, at that age, perhaps that's what they need. Although it's very difficult to tolerate from an adult perspective. But then, because then like I said, when we look at children that are under, go through child, labour, and they don't have that luxury of, someone comforting them saying, yeah, go and have a temper tantrum. It's okay because, perhaps they're orphaned or perhaps they've gone through, a war's issue.
Or the environment would not accommodate, the social environment would not accommodate.
How does that impact a child's development in that side of the world where perhaps they've gone through a war and, and what happens to all those mood swings and the emotional sort of centre of the brain that you're referring to in sort of a healthy, normal child who's not gone through any major...
It'd be interesting to look at the research in that because as much as there's different factors that affect the brain. So in terms of what stage a person, it's not just age, but what stage of puberty they're at. So in terms of the chemicals, the hormones that are being released in the body. But I'm thinking about diet. In terms of certain societies, what type of diet that a child, in terms of nutrition, do they have sufficient nutrition? Is that going to affect their, in one way or another? Is that going to impact? Also, maybe like brain development as well, because of what people's exposed to. Like, what's the impact of trauma on the brain? We know, at least we're clear about what trauma does to the mind. The mind is a kind of unseen element, right? The kind of unknowable part, but we know parts of it. How's that impacted?
Does it inhibit their growth?
Exactly. I'm thinking, is it arrested development? Like people stunted basically on a certain level. But Allah has created people that's, you know, the human being in such a magnificent way that even being born in an environment and exposed to an environment like that, it will still produce outstanding individuals with outstanding stories.
Definitely.
So even the environment and all the factors which seem like this person shouldn't to our knowledge, but Allah knows best, right? Like, sometimes remarkable individuals come from environments like that.
It's
fascinating.
It is, absolutely, and I think we can't. That's the beautiful thing about the human being. We don't know who's going to excel in the circumstances they're put in. But I was having a conversation recently about somebody's, their spouse, and they were saying that, in their childhood, the father was absent, and the mother was because she had to cope with a lot, very emotionally absent. So the spouse, a husband of a friend of mine, the way he dealt with emotional issues was just to switch off and detach and not discuss things. And it was interesting to hear what his childhood was like, that impact of the parents, and perhaps that had affected him, that now he couldn't express himself so openly because he wasn't allowed to as a child. There was no output for him to tell his mother how he felt without the father. And it's amazing how, if we don't check in with ourselves, with our mental health, with our reactions and actions as an adolescence, going on from that into adulthood, we could have lifelong implications of not normal, abnormal behaviours, couldn't we? Which impact others then around us. So it doesn't have to be extreme. I mean, I'm using extreme because I've seen those children in sort of, quite dire situations, and your heart goes out to them. But even in our society, there's so much that can, that does affect us, but we've got to, would you say that would be the best way to sort of always tune into yourself? And
that's what we call those years, the formative years, isn't it? Because it's almost like that is where the individual personality is being formed. There's another saying, I remember one of my clinical supervisors saying, is that the child is the parent of the adult. So in other words, the experiences that we go through as a child kind of inform us, the kind of an individual that you have as an adult.
Right.
And a kind of like graphic example is that child that was raised in poor surroundings and poverty, and has a chance to make a good living for themselves, sometimes can be over ostentatious because they can remember, they're kind of rebelling against that lack of. So everything's about abundance and hey, this defines my self-esteem, because I remember those days of being elbowed over somebody's nice car, or kind of cast aside as invaluable. So childhood is key. Adolescent development is key, and be a little bit patient, be a little bit understanding, but that doesn't mean we accept the unacceptable, but that little bit of sabr with the young people.
So we have to end it there. We've gone over time. Thank you so much. The wonderful point again, sabr with young people, showing them compassion as much as they might drive us up the wall. Bless them. But thank you so much, and pray for a blessed day for you ahead. And that's all we have time for at the moment. So we're going to head over to the kitchen, favourite part of my show as well, and we're going to join Fahima and Sana.
Call for raping English girls. Remember, you're here defending the paedophile. I'm here defending your dad. Women are here defending the paedophile. You're here defending.
We don't need a TV channel because we've got mosques.
We have Islamic centres that are always open.
We have schools teaching Islam.
Hijab is part of a school uniform.
Islam has come and it's established here in the West.
And everyone's happy.
They love us, our food, our fashion,
our culture.
The media is always on our side.
We've got plenty of English speakers, plenty of English books,
and plenty of places to go and learn in the English language.
Let's be real.
Let's get active. Be more involved.
ImamHusseinFree.tv.
Thank you, Zahra. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to Morning Baraka, our health and nutrition segment. And with me today is Sana. Assalamu alaikum, Sana.
Alaikum salam.
How are you?
Alhamdulillah, I'm very good, thank you.
I'm really looking forward to what you have for us today.
I know, another treat.
Another treat. So tell me, what have you got for us today in your new recipe?
So today we're going to be talking you through how to make a traditional Moroccan soup. It's called harira.
I have heard of it and I have tried it and I love it.
Yes, it's lovely. It's full of so many things. And
as I can see all these ingredients displayed.
Yes, exactly. So it will have lentils, chickpeas, vermicelli, parsley and coriander, celery, tomatoes, garlic and onions.
Very, very nutritional. Very, very nutritious. And all these ingredients are quite healthy, filling, and soups can be used in so many ways.
Exactly.
It's good even if you want to diet. They say that to have like soup meals because you have all the nutritions in there, but you have it in a soup form.
Exactly.
And you won't realize, and all the different ingredients mixed give it such an exquisite taste and blend. So I'm really excited as to what you have for us, and let us, hear you talk you through this.
So first of all, I will chop one onion. So it depends if you want to have it into big slices or small slices. It depends on how
it's kind of like a stew. So I mean, like soup, but with soups you can either have it with big chunky vegetables or with really blended. So with this traditional harira, how do you describe it? Like,
so I would say that it's kind of medium blend between it. It's not very chunky and it's not completely blended.
Right.
And depending on who makes it, people have different ways of kind of cutting and putting things in there. So mine would be around about kind of a medium kind of soup. So you will be able to taste the crunchiness of certain things in there, and it wouldn't be too thick, hopefully.
So let's just go through some of the ingredients that you're using. I know chickpeas, it really improves your digestion. It's actually a really good substitute for meat as well. And it's very high in protein and fiber. And you can actually use it to increase your appetite without having to increase your actual meal intake. Because of the ingredients, it fills you up.
Yeah.
So you can actually have the soup, because normally soup doesn't really fill me up and I need a meal as well.
Yes.
But something like this, and especially with these sort of ingredients, it could be so filling. And you can actually use bread alongside it, or which is what you would traditionally use anyways.
Yes, in fact, in Morocco we would traditionally use something called simnan, which is like a flat pancake bread.
Do you make that or buy that?
I make it at home because I've learned through like family recipes. I think you can buy it, but it's not around. It's not very easy to find.
Right.
But you can have a look online. It's really, really simple to make it.
Right.
It's not difficult.
Yeah, of course.
But like you said, you can have it with any bread, like fresh bread, baguettes.
And you're using onion right now as well?
Yes, so I'm going to chop some onion and garlic.
And also Imam Sadiq alayhi salam has narrated that using onion will soften the outer skin. It overcomes tiredness and strengthens the nerves and treats fever. So we do use that in a lot of our foods generally, but we don't realize the benefits.
Exactly.
And there's so many things that we can use that can benefit us. If we are aware, we can make it more towards our meals and daily plans. And a lot of times we might even think, it doesn't really matter to have that ingredient, but all these little things are so vital.
Exactly.
Even lentils. Lentil soup, as Imam Sadiq alayhi salam has also narrated, that the soup stops the thirst and strengthens the stomach, and it cures up to 70 types of ailments, which is so amazing. And we do have that a lot in Ramadan as well, but we can actually use that throughout the year with something like this.
Exactly.
So I love soup generally, so I'm really looking forward to how you're going to put this all together.
I know, yeah. I mean, with the lentils, like you said, I mean, when I was younger, they always said to have it if you're anemic.
Okay, yes,
and
it builds that strength.
It builds it, and
it
it's
gives
tasty.
you strength. Exactly, it gives you the strength.
Exactly. So also, what I'm going to do is I'm going to chop half of a celery stick. Obviously, the portion we're making isn't. It's just enough from kind of a bowl.
One bowl.
Yeah.
Just for me.
Exactly. So when you want to kind of do it at home, you may just have to double.
Of course, the ingredients. Yeah. Okay, I like celery. I know not everyone is keen because it is an acquired taste,
Yeah.
but I think like, you know, putting in a soup like this, I do like it. I know some people even use it in the stews in the maraq, you know,
Yes.
the Iraqis normally do as well.
Yes, they do.
So I'm quite used to having it in that, but I can actually eat it on its own. I think it's quite healthy. It's very, very, it's got a lot of water in it as well, which is what we need. If you're not used to drinking lots of water, then these sort of ingredients sort of helps.
Exactly, and you can have it even if you don't fancy it on its own with some hummus.
I was just going to say, I love it with hummus.
It's really tasty.
Yeah, which is chickpeas again.
Exactly, yes. So now what I'm going to do is just do the same with the tomato. Okay.
Not everybody likes tomatoes, and even, you know, I mean, when you're going to be doing the soup, to be fair, tomatoes are not necessarily used unless it's for that specific tomato soup, because, you know, the color is of the other natural ingredients.
Yes, exactly.
So this sort of makes it a little bit different having that in there, because it's more like a stew than a soup.
Yes, exactly. But what you would find is, because it will be simmering for quite a long time, it will kind of mush and become all like part of the soup. It will become liquidy. Now there are different ways of doing this. I know some people will actually grate the tomato inside of the soup,
right?
Or they will blend it.
Yes, of course. Yeah, the blending is quite normal, especially when you're making the stews like the maraq and things like that. So,
exactly, yes. So what you could do is, depending on how you like it, try and see which way, you know, suits you really.
Like I said, I've tasted this before, but I've never actually made it because it looks so complicated with all the ingredients. But actually, we're doing this in only a few minutes, and you've got all the ingredients laid out, which is quite a lot. And I see quite a bit of spice over there as well.
Yes, we'll be using different spices. So we'll be putting in there some ginger, some cinnamon, some paprika, and some cumin, as well as salt and pepper in there as well. So right now what I'm going to do is I'm going to chop up the parsley and the coriander. This is also a very important part of the soup. You can also blend this in as well. So
blend it all before?
You can do, yep.
Okay.
You can actually blend it in with the garlic.
Right.
And it kind of creates like this garlicky paste.
Sure.
Which is really tasty as well. But right now we're going to chop it, which is fine. It doesn't matter which way.
Because you're going to cook it and it's going to simmer anyway, right?
Exactly, yes. So just a handful of this.
So how do you normally have it in your household? Is it a main meal or is it a side meal or a starter?
I would say it's too fulfilling to be just a starter.
Okay.
As it's full of things. However, in Moroccan households, they tend to have quite a lot of food. So for them, it's not a big issue. But for me, I would find it quite fulfilling. I would have it as a
main meal. Okay.
Traditionally, though, it is made during Ramadan.
All right.
And so we do have it a lot during Ramadan, but also throughout the, you know, now we're coming through the winter.
Of course, yeah.
Soups are really good now this time of year if you're coming down with a cold or a flu.
I was just going to say, because the ingredients are great.
Exactly, yes. And it fills you up, so you're getting the right, you know, nutrition that you need if you can't have a full meal.
Yeah, because normally when I have soup, again, it's just a starter and it's never filling. So it's nice to have something which is healthy and a soup, simple, easy, quick to prepare. Might take a bit of time just to simmer, but then you've done all the main work and you can do something else while that just cooks.
Exactly, yeah. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put some of the seasoning in there. So I'm going to put a teaspoon of the pepper.
That's quite a lot.
It is, but it's actually quite good to have pepper in this. It really does complement the soup. If you find it too much, just reduce it.
Okay.
It's not essential.
Right.
I would also do the same with the salt.
Yeah, because obviously there's a lot of ingredients that has the natural salt and flavours in there.
Exactly, yep. Okay, so I'm going to put about a teaspoon of the ground cinnamon.
It smells really nice.
It is. It just gives it that additional kind of kick into the soup. Right, I think that should be enough.
Never really thought of cinnamon in soup.
Yep. We do mix a lot of things in our cuisine, sweet and savoury, in a lot of our foods, but they do complement.
Yeah, of course. I mean, that's why it makes such a exquisite taste.
Now I'm going to put some ground cumin as well, similar teaspoon.
It's more like a curry sort of mixture when it comes to the spices, right? Even though you're using it in soup.
Yes, yes, you're right. And I guess
especially with those spices that you've just mentioned.
Yeah.
And paprika.
And paprika, yep.
Okay. Do you find that it could be a bit spicy or paprika's not? It's just more... flavouring?
This is mild, so it's not.
Okay, yeah.
If you
I was
get
going
the
to say
hot
you
and
can get the
spicy-
hot ones because some, you know, Middle Eastern dishes can be a bit spicy now. I noticed that a little bit more, that there's a kick to it.
Yes, yeah, no, you're right. No, a lot of our food don't have a lot of spice. Most of the time we use a lot of pepper.
Wow, I can just smell the aroma and the flavours are really coming out just by you putting all that in there.
Yes, and now
It's
the ginger
fantastic.
is going to also bring it out.
That is amazing. This is even just before even properly cooking, so imagine.
Yep.
Wow.
Okay, that's the ginger in there. Okay, and the final.
Done the cumin.
Okay, we've done that already, haven't we? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, that's great. So I'm also going to put about 1.5 tablespoons of olive oil. Okay, I'm going to mix that up.
Do you add the garlic?
Yes, so I had added the garlic with the onions at the same time.
Right.
Also, what I'm going to use is some water. We need to put some water in there before we put it on the simmer.
And that is just about 2 cups, I would say, or?
Yeah, I would say this is probably about 1.5 cups.
Okay. I love the fact that we don't need that many utensils and pots and different, you know, areas of cooking because you want it simple, and the fact that you just put it all in one pot.
Yeah.
It's amazing, even with all these ingredients.
It does. It simplifies it and makes
Very
it a lot
simplified.
easier. So I'm also going to put.
So you know, when you're using these ingredients generally, do you pre-boil them or you would put it?
So with the lentils, I would soak them the night before.
Right.
So these would be soaked the night before, and then I would put
So you won't. Okay, so they all cook in there.
Yes,
Right.
that's correct. Yeah.
Okay.
Otherwise, it does take quite long,
Right.
which is fine. If you haven't and you've forgotten, it's
Yeah.
okay. It just means you need to keep
a bit
it a lot longer.
Okay.
So I would use about 1.5 tablespoons
And
of
what
the
kind of
lentils.
lentils are those? Because we do have different types of lentils.
Yes, so these are just the normal green
The normal green lentils,
Yes,
okay.
that's correct. Now the chickpeas and the vermicelli, we don't need to add that. That is until later on. You can add that.
Because they cook really quickly, right?
Exactly,
Yes.
yes. But what we do need to put is, if you say this is about 200 grams, so about half of this, of the tomato puree would need to go in there.
Right. Wow, it smells so fantastic. I mean, I'm getting all this aroma, and I'm quite lucky to be in the studio with you to really have this sort of experience.
It's nice, I guess, to kind of.
So please
try
trust me,
different-
everyone. It smells absolutely wonderful.
Right.
It's very strong flavors, to be fair.
Yeah.
So.
So what you might find is that you might just need to add a bit more
Water.
Water. So I'm just going to do that now.
Well, soup will actually soak up, all the ingredients will soak up all the water.
Yeah.
So you will maybe even in between that, you'd have to check and add some more water while it simmers?
Yes, that's correct, yes.
Okay.
So this one will be on the simmer, so you can leave it on a very low heat.
So on average, how long do you think this will take to cook?
So this is a vegetarian one. So you.
Oh yes, of course. You can add meat to it.
Yes. So traditionally we can add lamb into it, but that's optional.
So would you cook the lamb first, or again put it
No,
straight in?
I would put that in whilst I was with the onions and the garlic, and obviously lamb needs a bit of time to kind of.
So you do that
simmer.
first, and then the rest.
Exactly. So with everything that's in there now, it's perfect. All it needs to be now is covered, and then.
So 3/4 of the way, you would add the rest of the ingredients.
Exactly. Yes.
Okay.
So after I would say about 35 to 40 minutes, have a look at it.
And is it
open
on medium, high cook?
I would put it on low to
so
medium.
It's really going to take its time.
Exactly, yeah, low to medium. After about 35 to 40 minutes, stir it, have a check the meat. If you're using meat, you know, poke it to have a look to see if it's cooked. You may need to add a little bit of more water just because the tomato puree thickens the soup.
Of course.
So you just need to assess it and have a look at yourself. And once it's in there, you can just leave it and forget about it.
I know sometimes people add sort of like corn flour, you know, if it's too watery, if it's too thick, just to sort of, you know, play around with the consistency.
It's good you said that because another way of doing it to thicken the kind of the soup would be we would typically use some flour.
Okay. So what kind of flour is that?
So this is, at the moment, this is self-raising flour, but it doesn't matter. You can use plain.
Any flour,
It doesn't matter. It's just to kind of thicken it up.
Because in my sort of experience, my soups are really, really watery. I think I add too much water.
Yeah.
So then sometimes this is really good substitute, but also it gives a different flavour to it, right?
Exactly, yeah. So I'm just going to show you. So I've just put kind of half a tablespoon
Yeah,
in
you
there.
really don't need much. So please
No.
be careful when you're going to be adding this, because you literally only need like half a teaspoon or a teaspoon in order for it to really thicken, because it will go really thick otherwise as well.
Yes, and so once you've done that, you just kind of need to keep on stirring until all of the flour dissolves into the water.
Okay, that's the other thing I never did, was sort of put water in there first. I would just throw it in. So it's probably better to have it dissolved in water first and then throw it in, because then you can see how thick it is.
Exactly.
Okay, that's a good tip.
So what you'll see is that it will just be like this.
Okay.
You know, and obviously you just try and get out any of the bubbles
lumps.
and the lumps in there. But either way, don't fuss about it too much. It's not a big deal. It will dissolve in the soup anyway.
Right.
But what I would say is, if you are going to do this, if you feel you need it, you need to monitor the soup. So you need to make sure you're stirring it, because what may happen is the flour may burn.
Okay.
And then the soup might get ruined.
course,
So you don't want to do that. You want to try and avoid that.
Okay.
So this is just an option. If you want to thicken it up, you can use that. If not, and everything is fine, you can just put it away.
Okay.
And
well, we don't have time to cook this now for 40 minutes.
Yes. So we have prepared one for you.
Oh,
so
excellent. So I will actually get a chance to taste this for real.
Yes,
Here's one we made earlier.
Exactly. So let's just get right.
Excellent. The smell and the look and the texture, unbelievable. Wow.
So it's exactly
That's
the same
beautiful.
ingredients. The only thing is I've put meat in this. So that's optional.
Of course.
I choose to put meat in here just because I feel it gives it that extra kind of taste. You know,
And it's more filling as well. It becomes more of a main meal.
Exactly. It gives it that stock taste in the soup. But obviously, if you're a vegan or vegetarian,
yeah, you can just leave it plain
you can
without.
leave it out.
And what kind of meat? I mean, would you do the lamb or?
You can use lamb or you can use beef.
Okay.
What
have you got here?
So I have here lamb.
Okay. Because it also cooks a little bit quicker, right?
Exactly,
It's
yes.
faster.
But if you've got time, I mean, I know in Morocco they use a pressure cooker.
So it can make it
cooks a lot quicker. If you don't have one of those, just be prepared to kind of wait.
Oh wow, that looks absolutely delicious. I am so lucky today to be able to taste this.
See how it goes.
Okay.
Right.
Thank you. That is divine.
Yeah.
Absolutely delicious. I actually had the one without the meat, but the meat really does make a difference.
You can taste the stock.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Is the salt and the flavors okay? Like.
Absolutely delicious.
That's great.
Well, I'm going to finish this quickly so I can finish the soup quickly. Thank you again, Sana.
No, you're welcome.
You've given us lots of tips, lots of ideas. And again, it's a healthy, delicious meal that we can have, which is going to actually fill us up for longer.
Yeah.
And it's really, really quick and easy, which I didn't even think, because I'm looking at all these ingredients. I'm like, how am I going to even start with this? Thank you so much for today.
You're welcome.
I hope you enjoyed watching. Inshallah, we'll be back with more recipes. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Over to you, Zahra and Ali.
Miscellaneous topics as per our usual format for the day at Morning Baraka. We are joined by Sayyid Mohsin Shah. Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam wa rahmatullah wa barakatuh.
We should call you Smiley Sheikh.
Smiley.
Or Sheikh Smiley.
Yeah, I thought the green scarf would give it away. But
Let's say we've covered some random topics, but these random topics are quite important in this day and age because a lot of these topics are underrated, which have a massive effect on our lives from an Islamic perspective, from a regulation perspective, and how we integrate within society.
Yeah.
One such topic, Zahra and Sayyid, is that we wanted to discuss today is actually food etiquette. And just a bit of a background behind why we're discussing this is because obviously from an Eastern perspective, back home, the etiquette of food is because we respect food and we respect what it gives us and where it came from. Whereas within this day and age in Western society,
gratitude as well, isn't it?
Gratitude.
Yeah, because Allah's blessing.
Exactly. But in this day and age, within the Western society, food is just food, and they just eat it without
pleasurable.
Without exactly. It's more of an indulgence kind of thing, without actually thinking about is there an etiquette to food, food and beverages. So
and there's so much waste. We see that.
Of course.
You know, supermarkets throwing away tons and tons of food, homeless people hungry. So, yeah, it's a massive issue that we have. Again, we're saying where we're living, not to say that any part of the world is immune to these kind of issues.
Yeah, of course.
But the etiquette, I think one of the things that really is a stark difference is when you go back to, you know, for instance, visiting family, etiquettes of when you're going on ziyarah. You know, how people are hospitable. And it's quite I find it's a stark difference. So people, for instance, whether it's Arba'in and that's, you know, once in a year, or like I said, you visit family, it's the giving, isn't it? It's the nature of being generous and the mannerisms. And I think possibly we don't, because we don't embed them in our cultural aspect here. So hoping that you can shed some background.
Even what Zahra was saying, and even that extending to actually the actual act of eating. I'm sure there are some rulings, and we're not entering into haram and halal here. It's more about the etiquette, so it's about the manners, what's makruh, what's mustahab, for example. So if you can share some insight into that, that'd be great.
Inshallah, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. I mean, Ayatollah Sayyid Sadiq Shah Zahra Kazmi does discuss this matter in his Risala Amaliyah, which is really nice. Gives a little indication on the etiquettes of eating and drinking. I mean, this goes without saying, but you know, we respect food, and it's a rizq from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's a blessing to us, and unfortunately we live in a day and age where some people don't get this blessing. So we really need to respect food. And not just that, but you know, there's food at the mosque, there's food when we're going to Arba'in, and also we get invited a lot as well. There's a very, very social culture around food, especially from the Middle East and where we come from. You know, people socialize over food and then invite others. When you go visit family long distance, you're definitely going to get fed. And even when it comes to like even looking for a suitor for marriage and stuff, there's a lot of food involved. So there are etiquettes to eating and drinking, which inshallah I'll discuss.
It's a very warm, beautiful culture, isn't it? And I think it's something that I hope we don't lose, despite wherever in the world we may go to. But you're absolutely right. It's a centralized aspect of how we interact with one another, isn't it?
Indeed. So let's say you're invited, you know, to eat at someone's house. It is mustahab to actually attend, but really it's mustahab to wash your hands before you eat. So to wash your hands before and also after you eat, this is mustahab. An important one is do not begin eating until the host begins to eat. Yes, this is mustahab as well. So you wait for the host to begin eating, then you should eat. And furthermore, it is mustahab to stop eating before the host stops eating. So the host should be the first to begin to eat, and he should be the last to eat as well.
So on the flip side, the hosts should then realize when people have finished for him to actually finish as well. So it kind of goes both ways.
If that would be very nice of the host, if it recognizes this mustahab act, and that, you know, maybe eats slowly or keeps a little bit until everyone's finished and then finishes off. It would be very, really nice. But yes, it's mustahab for, I mean, it's also for us not to overeat in front of the host, to eat more than the host, and maybe be too eager and keen to begin before the host as well. Other mustahab acts is also to eat with the right hand. So, I mean, growing up in my culture, in Pakistani culture, you're always told you have to eat with your right hand. You can't eat with your left. You know, it's very, very strong. But it's mustahab. So to eat with your right hand. Also to say Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim before you eat. And to say Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim before you indulge in every cuisine. So let's say there's some rice. You say Bismillah before you pour the rice in. And then you're going to go for the marq, the curry. Say Bismillah before you put that in. Take the salad, say Bismillah before you put the salad in.
That's interesting.
So just before every, cuisine or every dish, to say Bismillah. And also to thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala at the end of your meal. It's mustahab. To do
What
that.
is the etiquette? Someone puts food in front of you that you just don't like raw steak. What would you do? What's the etiquette? Do you eat it quietly or, I mean, like I said, the cultural aspect is in this part of the world, you probably speak your mind and say, well, actually, I'm sorry, I can't eat this. But what would you do from an Islamic perspective, the etiquettes of...
From an Islamic perspective...
Not to hurt your host's feeling.
Say Salih doesn't discuss that.
What would you say as an etiquette?
But as an etiquette, I mean, this is my personal opinion, so it doesn't link back to any marja whatsoever. I think everyone's entitled to eat or not to eat what they pleasure, what they like to. However, it is also rude to incline an invitation. So maybe just take a little bit and bite the bullet, as they say. Just have a little bit to say that you did try, you did like it, and if you didn't like it, it's okay. I'm sure there are other things on the table which you will enjoy, and maybe you could compensate for that by taking a little bit extra.
Again, it's probably boiling down to culture rather than Islam. But it's like, for example, people who they give you too much. And it's like, well, I actually cannot eat this, and I'm going to be sick if I do. So just please stop doing it. That's just all culture stuff.
I think that's a big problem. I think people need to change this culture.
We need to change this culture.
People need to understand that I can't actually facilitate this much. There's a limit.
But it's a giving, isn't it? Because the person, your host, is ensuring the guest is not hungry, and so they're overfilling. And I think the generations above us were always like, no more, because that was their love and their kindness.
Indeed, but everyone has a different affinity, and also there's dietary requirements, and for example, if someone has got another dinner to go to later on, or tea or a meeting, or some of us like to go to the gym, we can't have a good meal before we go to the gym because we won't be able to move.
So tell us about sort of the post-eating etiquettes as well, because I know there's a couple of things that you can do post-eating or
before and after you eat, to take a bit of salt. Now I really want to emphasize on this that please do not use table salt or what we know as sodium chloride formerly, because this is like synthetic, chemically made salt. It doesn't contain the same nutrients and minerals as natural salt. So sea salt, Himalayan salt, this would be much more beneficial and more healthy for you to have before and after your meal, rather than using table salt or the cheap stuff.
Healthy for cooking with.
Indeed, it's not good. And also there's a practice, I think the Iranians do it a lot, is they lay down and they put their right foot on top of their left foot. This also is mustahab to do this, and it helps with digestion. And also to eat fruit. It's mustahab to wash fruit and to eat fruit.
Is there a particular, health-wise, I heard that possibly from a hadith, I'm not sure, the timing of eating fruit. There's that if you eat it in the morning, it has more benefit, and if you eat it, it's like eating nothing. It's got no nutrients in the afternoon.
Yeah, that's true. You should eat fruit in the morning.
Really?
Yeah, we have a riwayah in regards to this. Eat fruit in the morning on an empty stomach. I believe eating, I'm not sure which of the Aimah said it, but eating an apple on an empty stomach is like putting roses into your stomach.
Really?
Yeah. Eating an apple in the morning on an empty stomach, it's like roses for the stomach. And like they say in English, an apple a day keeps the doctor away.
Yeah.
So yeah, there is a very, very...
So why would it be, it's the same apple, why would it be not beneficial for you at 8 o'clock in the evening?
I think it's more to do with the body clock rather than the fruit itself. Maybe it's because...
It's funny that because all of our invitations to family gatherings is in the evening, and most of
it's
fruit.
It is. I guess that's a healthy alternative to like having
dessert,
chocolate, and
and,
things like that. But fruit. There's a big emphasis on fruit. Even we talk about fruits from heaven. Give you an example: pomegranates, figs, the apple of Eden. So there's many emphasis and relation to spirituality and fruit. Indeed. And not forgetting, there's also mustahab acts in regards to water and drinking. It's mustahab to stand and drink during the daytime, and to sit and drink during the nighttime. It is mustahab to sip your water, not to gulp it. Also to take minimum 3 pauses, you could say, or to drink your water in 3 stages rather than downing it all at once.
Okay.
Is there anything about having it with meals or after meals or anything?
It is makruh to have it after a fatty, greasy meal.
Really?
Yeah, according to Sayyid Sadiq.
Because it solidifies, doesn't it? The water will solidify
I
the
guess,
fat or something?
yeah, I guess it's to do with the reactions. And the other thing is...
Because the fat, sorry, just... Because the fat, I noticed in meals that when the kebab or whatever it is, that you put it down, it's greasy. Within 5-10 minutes, it's just gone all fatty. And so water...
We'll do that,
We'll do that to it.
We'll probably cool it down and, solidify it. So it's makruh to have water after a fatty meal.
Interesting.
And it is mustahab to say Bismillah before you drink water. And it is a great, great mustahab act and honor to remember Abu Abdullah Hussein and his thirst when drinking water.
We were having this conversation actually the other night about drinking water with meals, and obviously some people have and some people have like indigestion problems and they need to drink while they're eating. But I think there's these an Eastern culture that has water only 45 minutes or so after the meal because it's to prevent the solidification of the water, and then generally break down all the food, and it helps in weight loss and things like that. I don't know. We were just having this discussion.
So what would be a good alternative?
But you might be right actually with the warm drink.
You should,
I'm talking about during the meal. You need to wash it down something like.
You do obviously.
I don't want to do
your throat gets
carbonates.
dry. Yeah, your throat gets dry and stuff. So
a bit of a sip, I guess, won't.
I know it's recommended to drink water before your meal to drink because obviously of the health benefits. Also because it stops you from eating too much, which is a big makruh act. Is to eat excessively. So by drinking water at the beginning of your meal, you kind of take up a bit of the space and it will force you to eat less. So it's recommended to drink water before.
Like some of these etiquettes you can understand the wisdom behind it, and some of them is like, well, I'm still yet to find what it actually means or why. So with things like, for example, eating excessively, you can understand why that's bad for you, even from like a weight gain perspective, or for example, what you're eating could be bad for you because it just has negative effects on the body. So we're very interested to know like the wisdom, because a lot of these things, because it's not haram or halal, people will avoid it because I have to either do the haram, avoid the haram and do the halal. But these little small things like the mustahab and the makruh, I'd love to find out a bit more about which direction they'll take us if we do follow that. I
mean, if you look at, now this is coming from like a philosophical angle, in regards to eating a lot, they say that if you eat a lot, it makes you heavy. I'm not talking about heavy as in weight, but heavy as in your soul can't rise. And for your soul to elevate towards the heavens. There's a big emphasis on, even in the Imam, like, don't eat too much.
Well, you're meant to leave a portion, aren't you, of your stomach? So I don't know if any of you have tried, if you eat slowly and pause for like 10 minutes, you'll actually feel like, I didn't realise how full I was. But if you continue...
because it takes about 10 minutes for the brain to realise that it's actually full. And by that time it's too late.
Indeed.
Yeah, you've overeaten.
And also one thing to like notice is during Ramadan, we eat less, but how much more spiritual are we? There is a correlation to how much you're taking in and your spirituality. And then you look at someone like Imam Ali alayhi salam, how much did he eat? They said about half a bread and
coarse
yogurt.
bread,
He ate very, very little.
But it does have an impact. I think overindulgence in any desire, it doesn't matter, it's your food, if it's any material aspect in this world, whatever it is, it will impact your soul. So if you're overeating with food and that's your, your happiness. I mean, I love looking at food. I think it's, it's a creation, it's beautiful, it's artistic, but I can't eat a lot. But it's the effect on your soul, you feel it. Like you said, the grogginess comes in. And yes, you do feel a lightness. And I think, again, when you're getting up to pray, say you at Ramadan, people eat, some people hasten eat. But actually, if you pray before, then eat, you don't feel, that prayer actually feels a lot more connected than when you've eaten So it definitely has an impact. And I think it's just keeping it in moderation, isn't it? That not to overdo things either way.
Definitely. And furthermore, in regards to makruh accent, in regards to eating, it is makruh to actually clean the bone of meat.
Okay.
So if there's meat on the bone,
Right.
and to actually clean it all off, take it all off, you know, it's makruh, it's bad akhlaq. You should keep a bit of meat on it.
And I think also when you look at it from a host perspective, that they want to be giving, so we're going back to the original conversation, that they want to be giving generously. But when you're a guest at someone's house, you don't want to be looking like, you know, you've never eaten and here, oh, thank God you fed me, and I'm going to take every shit. No, it looks very cheap, doesn't it? So it's about keeping your nobility about yourself.
Yeah, there is an aspect of akhlaq and humility, and also that, you know, the carnivorous behavior.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
we're to enjoy meat, but not to, like, you know, rip it to shreds.
Right, we will end on that note.
Yeah, it's a good note.
Day
and it's
ahead.
made me hungry
and,
for lunch or dinner later on today.
So when you have your chicken wings, let us know.
I'll have the chicken wings.
Let us know how you
I'll
get
in
on.
the next episode.
Take a picture. Thank you so much. Praying
you
for a
for
blessed
having me.
day for you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Sayed. Really, really appreciate your time. Once again, we look forward to seeing Sayed in the following episodes of Morning Baraka. We've had a jam-packed day today, and we're going to get ready for the rest of the day, hopefully. So likewise for you guys, we wish you a blessed day ahead of you, and inshallah we'll see you soon. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Another question about the Quran Kareem is, which surah is the first surah in the Quran and which surah is the last surah? The first surah in the Quran Kareem is Surah Fatiha, which means opening, and the last surah in the Quran Kareem is Surah Nas, which means people or mankind. Which surah among of the surahs in the Quran is the biggest surah? Surah Baqarah, which means cow, is the biggest surah in the Quran Kareem. Another question is, which surah is the shortest surah in the Quran Kareem? The shortest surah is Surah Kawthar, which means abundance or a lot of the good things. How many parts are there in the Quran and what do we call them? There are 30 parts and we call each of them para or juz. Quran is divided for 7 parts. What is the name of each of them? We called each of them manzil or stages. How many ruku' or paragraphs are there in the Quran Kareem? There are 540 paragraphs or ruku' in the Quran Kareem. Who is the first hafiz or the one who memorized the entire Quran Kareem? The first hafiz is Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. How many times has the name of the last prophet mentioned in the Quran? 5 times. 4 times by the name Muhammad and 1 time by the name Ahmad. Name the prophet whose name is mentioned and discussed most in the Quran. Prophet Musa alayhi salam. What is the first ancient mosque according to the Quran? Kaaba or Masjidul Haram. How many times has the Quran talked about prayer or namaz? 700 times Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Quran emphasized about salat or prayer. How many times has the Quran emphasized on charity or zakat? 150 times. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala increase our knowledge about the Quran Kareem by Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and his progeny. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Hi, here's Karbala.
Action.
Salamu alayka ya Aba Abdullah al-Hussein. Oh Hussein, peace be upon you.
Oh Abbas, please heal all the patients. Oh Hussein, peace be
Oh Hussein, please call me.
O Hussein, peace be upon you.
Oh Hussein, oh Abbas, I love you.
O Abbas, peace be upon you.
Assalamu ala al-Hussein.
Oh Hussein, oh Abbas, I love you.
O Hussein, O Abbas, I love you.
Welcome to Karbala. Don't miss the ziyarah.
Praise belongs to God, whose decree none may avert, and whose gift none may prevent. No fashioner's fashioning is like his fashioning, and he is the generous, the all-embracing. He brought forth the varieties of unprecedented creatures, and perfected through his wisdom all he had fashioned. Hidden not from him are harbingers, nor lost with him are deposits. He repays every fashioner, feathers the nest of all who are content, and has mercy upon all who humble themselves. He sends down benefits and the all-encompassing book in radiant light. He hears supplications, averts afflictions, raises up in degrees and knocks down tyrants. For there is no God other than He. Nothing is equal to Him. Like Him there is naught, and He is the hearing, the seeing, the subtle, the aware, and He is powerful over all things.
احنا من سمعنا بالخبر فرحنا وكيفنا الحيدر يعني اخونا ويستاهل.
مشكورين ويستر عليكم ان شاء الله من فرحتوا قلبه بيدي واني.
خلال السنة إذا رزقت بمولود أكو هدية خاصة إلى حضرتك.
Imam Ali, peace be upon him, said, "He who is greedy is disgraced. He who discloses his hardship will always be humiliated. He who has no control over his tongue will often have to face discomfort."
Choose your monthly charity share for expanding and distributing the Husseini teachings and rituals all around the world through Imam Hussein TV channels. $200 monthly, $100 monthly, $50 monthly. Choose one of the following procedures to donate your charity share. Send your charity share via money transfer companies all around the world to Karbala, receiver name Abbas Muhammad Ali, and inform the channel public relations about the donated amount and the money transfer company name via the following number: 00964 77 35 300 149. Send the words "I am a member too" through WhatsApp app or Telegram app to the following number: 00964 77 35 300 149. Use the following PayPal link: ishtv.co/PayPal. Download Imam Hussein TV app from using the following link: onelink.to/IHTV, or deposit your monthly donation from USA using the following bank account information: bank name GP Morgan Base Bank Imam Hussein Television Network, account number 322125110, routing number 072000326, Swift code CHASUS33. You can also bring your donations as well as gifts and vows to Imam Hussein TV main office in Holy Karbala, or send it by the pilgrims who come for the pilgrimage. Address: Imam Hussein Building, Imam Ali Street, Bainul Haramain area, Karbala, Iraq.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على محمد وآله الطيبين الطاهرين ولعنة الله على أعدائهم أجمعين من الآن إلى أبد الآبدين. Imam Hussein alayhi salam, 1 year in the days of Hajj, in the pilgrimage next to the Holy Kaaba, was summoned by the person in charge of Hajj that year to an event that had amazed many Muslims. And that event was that amongst the Hujjaj and amongst the men and women circulating around the Holy Kaaba was an individual who had placed his hand on the arm of an unrelated lady. He saw a lady in front of him circulating the house of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and he was attracted towards her. Hence, when she raised her arm, he took his hand and placed it on her arm. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, as a result of this act, had glued the hand of this man onto the arm of this lady. As much as this man tried to remove his arm and hand from the arm of this lady, he was not able to, until this scene attracted the attention of the Muslims and the men and women circulating the house of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, until the circulation stopped and all the Muslims were attracted towards the scene. Alternatively, this man and the lady were brought to the presence of Imam Hussein alayhi salam, as all the scholars present in that year in Mecca were not able to bring an answer to this happening, an occurrence. Once asked, Imam Hussein alayhi salam had faced the Holy Kaaba and recited and supplicated to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. After finishing his supplication, he came and removed the hand of that man from the body of that lady. Then the person in charge of Hajj that year asked Imam Hussein, should we not punish this man for this action? Imam Hussein alayhi salam pointed out that it is enough that this man was involved in such a scene that all of the Muslims that year had been attracted towards this action that he has committed. The same man was named Al-Jamal, the person that hired the camels. This Al-Jamal was the man that had placed his hand on the arm of that lady. Years later, let's take a lesson from how we can repay the rahmah, the beneficence practiced by Imam Hussein alayhi salam towards this man. Years later, in the event of Ashura, on the night of the 11th of Muharram, this Jamal, this man who was saved by Imam Hussein alayhi salam, and Imam Hussein practiced rahmah towards him. How did he repay this kindness from Abi Abdullah al-Hussein? He came after the martyrdom of Imam Hussein, and after the body of Imam Hussein was being looted, he wanted to loot a piece of clothing from the body of Abi Abdullah al-Hussein. He wanted to take a piece of a shirt or pajamas from the body of Imam Hussein alayhi salam. The Imam, after his martyrdom, he's lying there on the plains of Karbala, moved his right hand and placed it on that piece of clothing. This man, this Jamal, came, took a broken sword and severed the hand of Imam Hussein alayhi salam and looted that piece of clothing. The lesson we can learn is that sometimes people do many things against us which we do not like. They wrong us, they speak against us. But we should exercise this rahmah that we recite every day in Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, in the name of Allah, the most beneficent, the most merciful. Allah practices that rahmah towards us, so we as the servants of Allah should practice that rahmah towards one another. Because once we do that, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will make us successful in our lives. The beneficent, the merciful. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Imam Hussein Media Group is a virtual university that works on a global scale to spread the true message of the Prophet and the Ahlul Bayt, peace and blessings be upon them. Imam Hussein TV was established 10 years ago in the city of Isfahan, Iran. We work to cover all aspects of religion, Islamic jurisprudence, politics, philosophy, and many more, and aim to bring the public's attention to the righteous Islamic sect, Shia Islam. Our ultimate goal as a media group is to convey the interpretations of the Holy Quran, as well as the traditions and knowledge of the Holy Prophet and his progeny, may Allah's peace and blessings be upon them. Our objectives are to protect and safeguard the Shia youth from the destructive impact of immoral ideologies, standing up against injustice by documenting the oppression of Shia across the globe, as well as encouraging peace and unity amongst the Muslims. To reach our aims and serve the Muslim Ummah, we require a budget that would cover all the expenses for our productions, allowing us to work on different projects. Imam Hussein Media Group is a crowd-funded project. We have no sales nor do we charge for our services. We solely rely on monthly payments, financial contributions, donations, religious alms, and generous gifts. The expenses of each production varies depending on the type of project and the style of filming. There are many elements to a production that requires time and capital. The producer must analyze the costs of the venue hire, equipment, transport, feature fees, set design, staff support, and further additional costs. The Holy Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him and his family, narrated, "The best of people is he from whom people benefit." It is up to you to help the Muslim Ummah come together and help guide the youth in remaining on the correct path of Islam. To take part in this global conquest and to spread the message of Imam Hussein, peace and blessings be upon him, please visit www.imamhussein3.tv or give us a call on +44 0203 515 0199. You can also contact us via WhatsApp, Telegram, SMS, or even email us on donate@imamhussein.tv. Let's work together hand in hand to elevate the faith of our Shia youth today.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to Ahkam SOS, the show that discusses Islamic duties and principles in accordance to His Eminence, the Grand Ayatollah Sayyid Sadiq Shirazi Hafadullah. I'm your host Mohsin Shah, and joining me is Sheikh Ali Ma'a. Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
How are you this evening?
Alhamdulillah, bakhair.
MashaAllah. Sheikhna, we're talking about Jama'ah Salah. We discussed, the rules in regards to Jama'ah, the thawab in praying Jama'ah. What I wanted to ask you, Sheikhna, is in regards to standing and the positions. Sometimes we have the Imam of the Jama'ah and there's people next to him, not behind, actually just next to him. Is this allowed or is it just, lack of space or something? That's why people are standing there.
أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على محمد وآله الطيبين الطاهرين. The follower of the Imam, which is known as the Ma'mum, is not allowed to stand ahead of the Imam, because the Imam, the leader, always in the front. In the battlefield, he's in the front. And that's why it's called Imam. Ya'ummu is to lead. The leader leads people, so he's always in the front. So in the Jama'ah as well, the one is not allowed to stand in the front of the Imam and the Imam is behind and perform the Salah Jama'ah. So always, either you stand aligned with the Imam in the same line, next to each other, or you stand behind the Imam and perform the prayers. Of course, the Sayyid mentions that as a per mustahab precaution, it's not wajib, but it's better that the one who is taller than the Imam, when he he stands for the prayers in which his ruku' and sujood would be ahead of the imam, tries to go back a bit and tries to avoid praying in a way that when he does the sujood and the ruku' is to be away from the imam, just in the back of the imam. So not to precede the imam in the ruku' and sujood.
Yes, Ahsan. Shaykhna, what about ladies and sisters who want to join the Jama'ah? Normally I see in the mosque they put like a partition or some sort of curtain or some sort of parda, as we say in our language. Is this acceptable? Does this allow the sisters to join the Jama'ah?
Initially there should be no barriers or curtains or anything like that and screens between the imam and the ma'mumeen. So if we stand as men to pray as jama'ah, we have to make sure that there's no barriers between us and the imam. However, if the imam is male and the ma'mumeen and the followers are female, in this case the Sayyid said there's no objection, there's no issue with it, that for a screen to be, or the curtain to be between the female ma'mumeen, the followers, and the imam. So imagine the imam is in front and there's a curtain behind and the ladies are behind the imam praying. In this case there's no issue with it. For the men is an issue. We cannot do that. But because we have a opposite gender here between the imam and the ma'mumeen, then they can have the curtain or the screen. And as we've seen this in the mosques back in the Muslim countries, that you have the imam in the front, in the back you have the men, and then you have a curtain or a screen behind the men in which there are women. Of course there's somebody praying to make sure the link is established between the men and the women and the imam. But there's of course a curtain and screen between them, which is fine.
Shaykhna, this is a personal question that I have is, and I mean there was a lot of hoo-ha in regards to in Canada when there was a female imam of Jama'ah, which is totally unacceptable, and we haven't, well, maybe they're doing research on it right now, but we haven't got sufficient evidence to say that a female can lead males in the Jama'ah Salah. However, can females lead females in the Jama'ah? Do they have their own sort of Jama'ah Salah, or do they pray Farada individually and only a male can lead the prayer?
Of course, I mean, even the Prophet ﷺ, he appointed a lady to lead some of the women in Medina in leading the prayers, Imamat Jama'ah. So he appointed a group of women to pray behind this woman. That's fine. And we have this in some places, in some centers and mosques, that lady, Imam Jama'ah, she prays and behind her are the sisters and the women. That's fine, there's no issue. It's just the issue that we cannot have a female lady as Imam Jama'ah and behind are men. And of course this is a fiqh issue. It's something that we have to go back to the experts and to see why we're not allowed to have such imamah in the Jama'ah, a female, and the ma'mumeen and the followers are male. This is something fiqh. Alhamdulillah, we believe in Islam as a complete religion and we submit it to Islam. So we have to submit to this reality that if there's a narration, then we have to respect the narration and follow the guidelines of Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam and the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam with this regard.
Ahsant. Shaykhna, how does one join the Salah in the second rak'ah? So the Jama'ah is going on, it's in the second rak'ah. How does one join that prayer? Let's say it's Asr and it's the second rak'ah of Asr prayer. How do I join that Asr prayer?
Basically, if you're in the second, if the Imam is in the second rak'ah and you want to start as the first rak'ah, you just make the intention that this is your dhuhr or asr or whatever salah is, and your first rak'ah, of course, for yourself, and you say the takbirah of Allahu Akbar and you join the salah. In the second rak'ah, for the Imam and for those who follow him, they will actually perform, the Imam will perform the Hamd and Surah and the Qunut. You must also do the Qunut as well. You can't keep quiet because it's your first rak'ah. So you must follow the Imam. If he does the Qunut, you do the Qunut as well. And then you go to the Ruku' and Sujood and so forth. And that is counted for you as first rak'ah. And when the Imam sits for tashahhud, you sit in a squatting position.
Okay, so
your fingers on the
floor.
floor.
Yeah, I've seen it. It's like you're getting up, but you're not fully getting up.
Exactly.
So you've begun to get up, so you're there squatting with your hands, your fingers on the floor,
Exactly.
but you don't continue the action.
Exactly. So you wait the Imam to get up, and then you get up afterwards. And you continue your salah. If it's for the Imam will be the third rak'ah, for you will be with the second rak'ah. So you try to catch up with the Hamd Surah, you read it, because the Imam will be reading Subhanallah walhamdulillah, tasbihat al-arba'a. So you have to make sure you catch up with the Imam by reading the Hamd and Surah and the Qunut if you can. Otherwise you just leave the Qunut and you go to the Ruku' with the Imam to catch up with the Jama'ah.
What happens then, like if it's their third rak'ah, but it's my second and I have to do the tashahhud? What happens then? Do I quickly do the tashahhud and catch up with the Jama'ah?
Initially, it's their third rak'ah, and the Imam is reading Subhanallah walhamdulillah, that's Tasbihat al-Arba'a. And you're reading, and this is your second rak'ah, you're reading Hamd, Surah and Qunut. If the Imam was reading fast, and you didn't catch the Imam, then you have to only read Surah al-Hamd. That's it. You just leave and ignore recitation of a surah and the Qunut, and you go straight with the Imam. If you think that you're not going to catch up with the Ruku' of the Imam. So you just read the Hamd, and you try to catch up with the Imam's Ruku' because he's reading fast, for example. And then you normally continue the rest of the acts. Of course, tashahhud, also you do the tashahhud, and you get up for the next rak'ah, which is also you're going to do tasbihat on the third, and they do the tasbihat on the fourth.
Nice.
And you try to catch up as well with the Imam. And as I mentioned previously, that the Sayyid allows for one tasbihah. So if you don't catch up with the Imam on the fourth, that he's reading, and you're on the third, one tasbihah is sufficient to catch up with the Imam.
Interesting. So, Shaykh, what about if I'm joining the salah on the third rak'ah? Obviously, there's not enough time for Surah Al-Hamd. Maybe the Imam is reciting Surah Al-Hamd, or maybe he's doing the tasbih. What is one to do? What am I going to do? It's my first rak'ah. I've just joined. I need to recite Surah Al-Hamd and different surah. Does that rule still apply to me as well, that I can get away with just reading Surah Al-Hamd and continue the Jama'ah? Or do I have to do Surah Al-Hamd and another surah because it's my first rak'ah, but it's the third rak'ah for the Jama'ah?
In this case, you have to wait, because you may not be able to catch up to even completing the Surah Al-Hamd, because the Imam is reciting, let's say, the second tasbihah or the third tasbihah. He's on the last tasbihah, and any seconds he might go to the ruku'. So you must wait until he finishes the tasbihat al-arba'a. So when he goes to ruku', you say Allah Akbar with the intention, and you go to ruku' with him. That's the best option. Otherwise, if you see that the Imam is reading slowly the tasbihat al-arba'a, he just started tasbihat, that's fine. You join him and you read Hamd and Surah, and then you join the Imam for the
remainder of
the Salah.
Shaykhna, what does one do if I've just gone and done wudu, I've come into the main hall, I do not know which rak'ah the congregation is praying. What should one do in such a situation?
It is permissible for the follower to join the Jama'ah and follow the Imam in this situation, but as the Sayyid states here that he must recite Al-Hamd and the Surah, because he doesn't know in which rak'ah the Imam is. But for yourself who just joined recently, you read the Hamd and Surah with the intention of the Qurbah. In other words, seeking nearness to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, seeking closeness to Allah, the Almighty. And you join the Jama'ah and there should be no problem at all. And even if the one learns afterwards that the Imam was in the first or second rak'ah, his salah is valid, that's fine. Because he did it just with the qurba of getting nearness to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So by this intention, you can continue the salah with the Imam.
Shaykhna, what is the ruling in regard to recitation? Should I listen to the Imam and what he's saying and not utter any dhikr at all? Or am I allowed to recite behind the Imam? Maybe in the ruku, what if I finish my dhikr before the Imam? Is this valid? Is this allowed? Or it's not allowed at all?
With regard to the hamd and surah, if the salah is the one in which recited aloud, like in Salat al-Fajr and Maghrib and Isha, it's better that you keep silent and listen to the qira'ah and the recitation of the Imam. When he reads Alhamd and the surah, you listen to the ayat and the verses that he's reading. In Salat al-Dhuhr al-Asr, in which he reads them silent, you're allowed, and it's mustahab that you do dhikr. La ilaha illallah, subhanallah, for example. You read this dhikr, and even the Sayyid mentions that salawat ala Muhammad wa Muhammad sallallahu alayhim, that even you can mention this while the Imam is reading the Alhamd and the Surah in Dhuhr and Asr silently. So yes, you can mention the dhikr, and even if you're in the ruku' and you just finished the dhikr, continue sending the salawat on Muhammad and Muhammad sallallahu alayhim, and even mentioning more dhikr, La ilaha illallah, subhanallah, Allahu Akbar, whatever you can mention as dhikr and Quran, that's fine.
I heard it's even acceptable to say the names of the Aimma as the dhikr. Is this true? You can even say the names of the Aimma?
We are saying Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. So Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is the Prophet, and he's the master of the Aimma alayhi salam, and Ali Muhammad sallallahu alayhim. That's fine. Mentioning their names, let's say you say in sujood, Allahumma rzuqni shafa'at al-Hussein, as a dua. As a dua, all these things, that's fine. No issue with it.
MashaAllah, ahsant. Thank you very much, Shaykhna. Any last advice in regards to Jama'ah Salah? Because it's not very common and it's not popular. We're not famous as Shia for Jama'ah Salah. And I think you've seen it as well when you go into, Amal night, or you go to, a mosque, in a Shia mosque, you see a lot of people praying individually rather than collecting together. Is there any advice you'd give to the viewers?
The advice, as I've mentioned, the narration in which that the reward for the one who prays the Jama'ah, and this great reward in which cannot be counted if it exceeds 10 followers with the Imam. And it's important that we have to have this culture of Jama'ah. We have to learn this culture and apply it into our daily life, even at home, not only in the mosque or center or Husseiniya. We try to learn as a family member, bring my family, the kids, yallah, let's start Salah Jama'ah. And gradually, I think our generation will learn and will get used to this habit, which is a good habit, and start the Salah Jama'ah wherever they've gathered. And of course, we have to appreciate the fact that the one who prays the Imam must be adil, just, preserves these conditions of the Jama'ah. That's why we have this issue of the difference between us and the non-Shia, that they pray behind whoever comes. First come, first serve. He stands and he says Allahu Akbar, and the people follow him. Maybe he's shaved, maybe he's such and such. It doesn't matter. We have these conditions of adala, righteousness must be met. And that might be one of the reasons, but mostly people are, mashallah, mu'min, faithful, those who gather in the Islamic centers and around. I think we have to teach this generation to learn more about the Jama'ah and the Thawab, and the reciters, the lecturers should also encourage in their majalis as well.
Thank you very much, Shaykh. Thank you for today's discussion. And thank you to all the viewers for joining us on this episode. Inshallah, we pray that you can get involved in congregational prayers, and you can promote the sunnah, inshallah. Until next time with a new discussion, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah wa barakatuh.
I am from which all life comes, and I am where all life ends. From my dust you rose, and became pieces of moving clay. From my dirt you began to breathe. From my dirt you began to feed. I am where they plant their hopes, and I am where they harvest their dreams. The grass beneath your feet, the food which you enjoy, the perfumed bright flowers, all come from me. I nourish them. I bring color and joy to life. Without me, your world would be bland, gray. I am the ground that keeps you upright and balanced. I stop you from falling. I help you build and rise above the clouds. You do not care for me until the ground beneath you begins to shake. You disgust me with your carnage and pollution. You sin as if I'm not here, as if I can't see. I can swallow you whole if I wished. I've seen mankind's loves and losses. I remember you long after you pass. Like a warm, protective blanket, I cover your dignity and lay you to rest. From me you came, and to me you return. What then say you of a body on the ground, unshrouded, unburied, unprotected? Surely your heart shudders. What say you of an earth of flowing blood, yet thousands of years later it smells like musk? What say you of a burning earth, with bodies upon it, with radiant smiles upon dead lips? What say you of Imam Hussein and his companions, that they would die for the truth, rather than live a life of falsehood? I cried out for 3 days, bury him, but I could not cover him. Today, I cry out for those who visit him. Today I welcome them, and my dust cleanses their souls. Through my dust, they shall enter paradise. I am the miraculous cure. I am the beauty that came from tragedy. You think you know Karbala. I am Karbala.
In the name of God, the Beneficent, the Merciful, hello dear brothers and sisters, respected viewers, mu'mineen and mu'minat from all around the world. Another time, we are your guest, and I would like to say you welcome to land of Hussein, welcome to land of Abbas, welcome to this sacred place, to Karbala, welcome to Karbala, and alhamdulillah today as another beautiful day, as another beautiful time and excellent hours and minutes we are going to be with you, inshallah, to spend our time fully with Imam Hussein alayhi salam. We are going to congratulate Imam Hussein alayhi salam and all the mu'mineen and mu'minat, and especially Imam of our time, for the occasion of the birthday, the anniversary of the birthday of Imam Muhammad al-Jawad alayhi salam. So with a heart full of happiness, let's say a humble salam to Imam Hussein alayhi salam and congratulate him for the anniversary of the birthday of his grandson Muhammad al-Jawad alayhi salam. Assalamu alayka ya Aba Abdullah. السلام عليك يا ابن رسول الله. السلام عليك يا ابن أمير المؤمنين وابن سيد الوصيين. السلام عليك يا أبا عبد الله. السلام عليك وعلى الأرواح التي حلت بفنائك. السلام عليك وعلى الأرواح التي حلت بفنائك. عليك مني سلام الله أبدا ما بقيت وبقي الليل والنهار، ولا جعله الله آخر العهد مني لزيارتك. السلام على الحسين. السلام على الحسين وعلى علي بن الحسين وعلى أولاد الحسين وعلى أصحاب الحسين. Now, let's say a humble salam to Abu al-Fadl Abbas alayhi salam, to Qamar al-Ashira, Abu al-Fadl Abbas alayhi salam. Assalamu alayka ya Abu al-Fadl Abbas. Assalamu alayka ya Qamar al-Ashira. Assalamu alayka ya Qadi al-Hajat. السلام عليك يا أبا الفضل العباس يا ساقي عطاشا كربلاء. السلام عليك يا قطيع الكفين. السلام عليك يا كفيل زينب. السلام عليك أيها العبد الصالح المطيع لله ولرسوله ولأمير المؤمنين والحسن والحسين. السلام عليك ورحمة الله وبركاته. Alayhi salam, I would like to invite you to have a moment watching at the beautiful footages of Karbala live. So inshallah, after that we are going to start reading your beautiful messages, salams and praise which are coming to me over WhatsApp or Facebook. So have your time, take your time and look at the beautiful footages of Karbala.
هاشم يا ابو فاضل يا ثورة حق على الباطل، وقفت بحضرتك سار اريد الحاجة منك، اريد الحاجة منك. قمر هاشم يا ابو فاضل يا ثورة حق على الباطل، وقفت بحضرتك سائل أريد الحاجة منك. أصير أحد عبيدك عبد خادم يريدك، يشم حنية ايدك كريم عرفنا عنك. يا باب الحائج فلا قلبي لايج، لأن دوما يندب يا فوزي أنا. يا محلى نبوته أكيد انسمات، أخذت المحبة من الطباع مرحب. شوفك مرة بعيوني يكحل نورك جفوني يا ابو الغيرة مو عجيبة عبد باسمك يسموني إلك خادم يلقبوني يا ابو الغيرة يا ابو فاضل يا محبوب بعت لك قلبي.
Actually, a few days ago, I was meeting a group of Zairin coming to Karbala from Canada and the United States, and they all were lovers of Ahlul Bayt salawatullahi wa salamu alayhim ajma'een. That was so great. That was so outstanding to see people coming to Karbala from far, far away and loving the situation, loving the ziyarah. And actually, I had a very great moment with them, and that was so beautiful. That was so perfect. I was just reading the messages over Facebook right now, and I saw that respected viewers are asking Almighty God and Imam Hussein alayhi salam to call them for ziyarah to Karbala. And I just remembered the time that I was with those guys. That was so perfect, you know. That was so nice. And I truly hope and pray for all of you to be able to come to Karbala so I can meet you, and inshallah we spend a beautiful time together. You as a Za'ir of Imam Hussein alayhi salam, and I as a servant, as someone who can serve you and invite you here in the Imam Hussein TV channel studio, so you can come here and have the great view of Imam Hussein alayhi salam right here, taking photos, and you know, just to make your ziyarah so great, so outstanding, so unique. So I really wish to see all of you, brothers and sisters, here in Karbala once you come to Karbala, inshallah. And it's not going to be that far, that is going to be so soon, inshallah, I'm sure. But you need to, you know, to make your decision, inshallah. You need to be so serious about it. And inshallah, don't be afraid about anything. Just take your luggage, your, you know, stuffs and the other things, okay? Just book your hotel and your airplane, okay? And inshallah, just make it, then it will be okay. You know, when you come here to Karbala, then you will see that you have come to the best place on the earth, inshallah. You also, I just think that you also can make groups of, you know, Zairin, and you come in groups, not alone. So in this regard, the expenses will be lower, and of course things will be better. So just try it. Just gather some groups, okay, and make some groups and come to ziyarah. Then you will see that it will be so great for all of the Zairin to be in a group in Karbala and reciting ziyarah all together. That will be perfect. That will be so great and perfect. As I told you tonight, actually today was the anniversary of the birthday of Imam Muhammad al-Jawad alayhi salam, the son of Imam al-Rida salawatullahi wa salamu alayhi. And of course, Imam al-Jawad salawatullahi wa salamu alayhi, he is one of the youngest imams out of the 12 imams, and he was murdered when he was so young. But there are lots of beautiful stories and, you know, things that we can learn from his own life. And I wish, inshallah, all of you, dear brothers and sisters, at least have a search on the internet or through the Shia books and know how outstanding this Imam's life was. The negotiations, the speeches that he had for the mu'mineen and mu'minat, and, you know, the how he was behaving, that Abbasid Caliph, for his bad behavior. You know, that will be so great to know more about this great Imam. Let's start, inshallah, reading the messages coming to me here. First, I would like to start with reading a message coming to me through WhatsApp. Hassani Husseini says ولادة بسعادة مولى علي أصغر عليه السلام and مولى Imam Muhammad Taqi al-Jawad عليه السلام Mubarak. Yeah, thank you, brother Hassani Husseini, for reminding me. In addition to the anniversary of the birthday of Imam al-Jawad alayhi salam, today is the anniversary of the birthday of Ali al-Asghar, the little infant of the tragedy of Karbala, of the day of Ashura. Ali Asghar was born in such a day. And, you know, when one remembers the name of Ali Asghar, you know, although it's his birthday, but one cannot feel that kind of happy, because you will notice and you know that his life is not that long. He will be only 6 months until he is going to be beheaded. He is going to be beheaded by the Harmala, by his arrow. And La ilaha illallah, La ilaha illallah, La ilaha illallah. That's so sorrowful. That's so sorrowful. Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein. When I remember the birthday of Ali Asghar, you know, I just remembered that we are approaching Muharram. We are approaching Ashura. We are approaching the days of the grief of Ahlul Bayt. We are approaching mourning for the martyrdom of Imam Hussein alayhi salam. Oh Hussein, oh Hussein. We are here in Karbala. How can I celebrate birthday of Ali al-Asghar when I know that in 6 months he is going to be murdered in Karbala in the day of Ashura? Oh my God. Okay, sorry, brothers and sisters. I really couldn't conceal my feeling, I can't stop thinking about it, you know. It is all moving, all parts of my body. Just thinking about Ali Asghar. That is so grief, so sorrowful. Brother Hassan Husseini says, Salam, iltimas dua, salam, ziyarat for my parents, entire family, and all of us at the holy shrines. Please pray for all ill and diseased mu'mineen and mu'minat. لبيك يا حسين, لبيك يا عباس, يا علي مدد, late Agha Shabir, Hussein and family. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad wa ajil farajam. Thank you so much, brother. Thank you so much for sending this beautiful message. And of course, you turned me into another world. You all made me, you know, feeling different just by reading your message. And anyway, thank you so much. Thank you so much for your beautiful message. There are two other messages or WhatsApp, and inshallah after that I'm going to read the messages. MashaAllah, lots of messages on Facebook. Salam, brother Musa, please pray for my exam. This is from SS Sulheria. Inshallah, brother, salam alaikum. I will pray for you, and inshallah you will be succeed in your exam, inshallah. The next message is from Mahrukh Zaidi. She says, Assalamu alayka ya Aba Abdullah, Assalamu alayka ya Ibn Rasulillah, Assalamu alayka ya Qamara Bani Hashim. Salam, my dearest brother. Please say my salam to Hazrat Abbas, and please pray for reappearance of Imam of our time. Ajjalallah ta'ala farajahu sharif. Inshallah. Please pray for my father and my family, that may we be among those who will visit Karbala. Please pray for my exams, as I'm having important exam tomorrow. Jazakallah. Inshallah, sister. She is also says, and also my brother, because he is also having its exam. Inshallah, I wish all of you to be in a good condition first, and of course we always pray for reappearance of Imam of our time. And inshallah, my sister Mahrukh Zaidi and your brother, inshallah, you will be succeed, inshallah, in your exams as they are easy for you, because you are so clever. I know, and inshallah you are connected to Ahlul Bayt, inshallah. So there are lots of messages right here on Facebook, but before I start reading the messages on Facebook, let's see how was Karbala today. So let's have that clip for today in Karbala, and then inshallah I'll be back again. To be honest, today, and not only today, these days, the weather in Karbala is so perfect. It is not that cold and it is not that hot, so it is so perfect. It's just like a spring. And although spring is not coming yet, but it's so perfect. And you just saw how cool and how so perfect the weather was in Karbala. It is somehow cloudy, and it's so great to stand in Bain al-Haramain, just face towards the holy shrine of Imam Hussein alayhi salam and recite a salam from deep of your heart, and then turn to Abu Fadl Abbas alayhi salam and recite a ziyarah. And then I don't know which way will one get first, but as the tradition and as the sunnah of ziyarah and the way of ziyarah is said, it is better to go to Abu Fadl Abbas first. One says salam to Abu Fadl Abbas alayhi salam under the golden dome of Abu Fadl Abbas alayhi salam, and asks Abu Fadl Abbas alayhi salam to permit him to go to ziyarah of Imam Hussein alayhi salam. This is how people do when they come to ziyarah of Imam Hussein alayhi salam. So I wish, inshallah, this happens to all of you, dear brothers and sisters, and to be able to come to Karbala and visit the sacred land of Karbala by its shrines, and to go inside the holy shrine of Abu Fadl Abbas alayhi salam under that golden dome. Ask Abu Fadl Abbas alayhi salam, after just saying ziyarah and reciting the ziyarah, asking Abu Fadl Abbas alayhi salam to permit you to go to ziyarah of Imam Hussein alayhi salam, and after that, in a very, very humble and unique way, you just come out of the holy shrine of Abu Fadl Abbas alayhi salam and move towards the holy shrine of Imam Hussein alayhi salam. That is so great. That is so. Once you're walking between these two harams, I'm sure you are going to get a unique energy, a perfect energy, and you are going to feel it as you're feeling it right now when you're sitting at your home. while you're watching this live ziyarah show, I'm sure that once you look at the Darih of Abu al-Fadl Abbas alayhi salam, as you look at the minarets of Imam Hussein alayhi salam and the golden dome of Imam Hussein alayhi salam, you will feel that energy. And so just imagine how greater that energy would be if you are here in Karbala and you breathe the atmosphere and the air of Karbala, inshallah. Let's go back to the Facebook. There are lots of messages right here, inshallah. I wish if I can read all the messages. The first one goes for Sayyidah Amina Batul Zaidi, says Assalamu alaikum. I say alaikum assalam, Sayyidah Amina. She says Assalamu alaikum ya Aba Abdullah, Assalamu alayka ya Qadi Abbas alayhi salam. Kindly convey my salam and humble salutations to Imam Hussein alayhi salam and to Mawla Qadi Abbas alayhi salam, and kindly pray that Allah Pak forgives us and bless us all. Ameen. Labbayka ya Hussein. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad wa ajil farjam. Inshallah. Sister Sayyidah Amina Batul, inshallah, thank you so much for this beautiful prayer and dua. Nusrat Ali says, Salam. Please present our humble salam to our masters. Please keep us in your humble du'as. Please, please. Inshallah, brother Nusrat Ali. Thank you so much. Actually, Nusrat is sometimes in some countries name of man. Men call them, are named Nusrat, and in some other countries, Nusrat are called for women. It's a female name. I don't know. There is a family picture on her logo and her avatar. So anyway, Nusrat Ali, inshallah, I will be at your service. I don't know whether it's a man or woman, but anyway, inshallah, I pray for all of your family. Nusrat Ali, inshallah, I wish all of you and your respected family to be able to come to ziyarah of Imam Hussein alayhi salam here in Karbala. And inshallah, I wish if I can see you here in Karbala, and I invite you in this studio, inshallah. Once you came to Karbala, don't forget to contact me, inshallah. I invite you, all of you, dear brothers and sisters who can come to Karbala, inshallah, here in this studio in Karbala, inshallah. So I will be at your service, and you will enjoy the beautiful and the perfect, sight, the beautiful, view of this studio towards the holy shrine of Imam Hussein alayhi salam and then Abu al-Fadl Abbas alayhi salam. Sayyidah Amina Batul Zaidi says, need to congratulate Imam Hussein alayhi salam on birth anniversary of Imam al-Jawad alayhi salam. Thank you so much, Sayyidah Amina Batul. Thank you. Abbas Mehdi says, Salam ya Mawla Hussein alayhi salam. Salam ya Mawla alayhi salam. Mawla Abbas alayhi salam. التماس الدعاء سر ولادة إمام جواد as BHT Mubarak who, and I think it is in Indian Urdu, but anyway, I could read it because most of the words are just like the Farsi or Arabic one, but that was so great. Thank you so much, brother Abbas Mehdi. Thank you so much. Irum Batul says, Salam Mawla Hussein, Salam Mawla Abbas. Please pray for me and my family, and pray for our rizq, and pray for me. I want to come to Karbala. Inshallah, Irum Batul, I will do so. I will do so, and I'm proud of being here and being able to pray for all of you, dear brothers and sisters. And inshallah, I wish to see all of you here in Karbala. And I would like to remember again that don't forget to come to Imam Hussein TV channel once you came to Karbala, inshallah. Hassan Hussein says, Salam, iltimas dua, salam, ziyarat for my parents, entire family, and all of us at the holy shrines. Please pray for all ill and diseased mu'mineen and mu'minat. لبيك يا حسين لبيك يا عباس يا علي مدد صلوات اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجهم. VJ Zahra, Sister VJ Zahra says, Assalamu alayka ya Aba Abdullah al-Hussein wa akhika al-Hussein wa ya Aba al-Fadl Abbas alayhi salam ibn Abi Talib. Thank you so much, VJ Zahra. Hassan Husseini says, yeah, this is exactly the same message on WhatsApp. He is also writing it on Facebook. Thank you so much for being so loyal, brother Hassani Husseini. And Ruqayya Jan says, Salam, my brother. Alaykum as-salam, sister. Salam, ya Hussein alayhi salam. Please pray for our sister and our brothers in New Zealand. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that was a great remember. Thank you so much, Ruqayya Jan. We heard a very, very bad news, a very, very bad event in New Zealand. You know, I would like to mention something. Once people are not that familiar with true Islam, that causes people think that Islam is just like what Wahhabi people and those extremists perform in their, in their groups, just like ISIS and Taliban and the other, groups, those extremists. But the true Islam, this is not true Islam. This is not true Islam. True Islam is the Islam of Ahlul Bayt. True Islam is Islam of Imam Hussein, Islam of Ali, Islam of Imam Hussein alayhi salam. This is the true Islam. The true Islam is when you come to Karbala and see lots of people are reciting ziyarah, performing ziyarah. This is the true Islam. That's not Islam when ISIS or the other groups just so violent towards other innocent people. That's not Islam. That is ways far from Islam, the true Islam. That's not Islam of Amir al-Mu'minin. That's Islam of Muawiyah. Islam of Ali is exactly what you can see here in Karbala or in the other shrines of Ahlul Bayt salawatullah wa salamu alayhim ajma'in. So Imam Hussein TV channel is all trying to spread the idea of Ahlul Bayt and the true Islam all over the world. And inshallah, don't forget to be with us and stay with us and help us inshallah through this great job. Fadak al-Musawiyah, VJ Zahra, and Milad Fakhar Abbas, they are all sending salams. Because we don't have that much time, I'm just reading the names. Milad Fakhar Abbas, this is the first time I see his message. Salam Hazrat Abbas, Salam Labbaik Ya Hussein. Thank you so much. Malik Fakhar Abbas, yeah, this is the name, is sending his salam. Thank you so much. Samir Muladina says happy birthday to our Hazrat, our role mode, Hazrat Ali Asghar Ibn Hussein. Our salam to Imam Hussein always from Tanzania. Thank you so much, brother Samir. Zina Ismail is sending message, says salam to Imam Hussein alayhi salam. Sayyidah Amina Batul also sending a message. Bina Mimoon, please brother pray for my family and pray for my brother Zubair Ahmed. God solves his problem inshallah. Thank you so much. And we've got a message from Ambila Zakir, says salam to my Mawla Hussein alayhi salam. Please pray for my Shifa facing many health related problems, and pray for Mansoura Ali and brothers and sister. Okay, let's all pray for all the diseased people, those who are sick. Almighty God, in sake of Hussein, in sake of Abbas, in sake of Ali al-Asghar, heal all the diseased people who are suffering from their illnesses. Amen. Thank you so much, brothers and sisters, for being with us. Have a great night and goodbye.
Keep the Baraka coming every Monday and Friday morning.
Morning Baraka at 9 a.m. GMT time only on Imam Hussein TV.
So you are an ambassador wherever you are. Let the treasures that you have discovered from Ahlul Bayt streams from your mouth wherever you are.
It becomes for me a moral responsibility and becomes a Shara'i responsibility to congratulate them. They are no less than from within the ranks of the Ashab of Rasulullah, the pure virtuous Ashab of Rasulullah and Ahlul Bayt.
Just by saying this statement, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He had cleaned all of my previous sins away. Because only reverts can understand what that feeling is like.
The salah is, in some narrations, elevate the one towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
We at Imam Hussein TV really admire our revert brothers and sisters, which is why we're bringing to you a new season of Embrace, which aims to help those new to the religion, as well as those who want to brush up on the basics. You do not want to miss this.
On this great day, that is the birth anniversary of the generous, the pious, the great man that is the son of Imam al-Rida, Imam al-Jawad, peace and blessings be upon them both. Assalamu alaikum, dear viewers, brothers and sisters, wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to tonight's show, where we'll be discussing a little bit about the life of this great Imam that is Imam al-Jawad, peace and blessings be upon him. And I'd like to start off by congratulating you and all the lovers of the Ahlul Bayt, and of course more importantly the Imam of our time, Imam Sahib al-Zaman, on this auspicious occasion. I am joined tonight by our dear Sayyid and a close brother of mine, Sayyid Hussein al-Qazwini, who resides now in Karbala. And inshallah we will be discussing some key points from the life of Imam al-Jawad alayhi salam. Assalamu alaikum, Sayyidina. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
Allah hafidhak, Sayyidina. So Sayyidina, can you start off by briefly telling us a bit about the early life of Imam al-Jawad, his birth, the time of his birth, for example, his mother, his father, just some brief information.
Thank you very much.
Allah hafidhak, Sayyidina. So Sayyidina, can you start off by briefly telling us a bit about the early life of Imam al-Jawad, his birth, the time of his birth, for example, his mother, his father, just some brief information, inshallah.
Al-Baqir, he was called Abu Ja'far al-Thani. And in narrations, especially in fiqh narrations, they usually bring that title. An Abi Ja'far al-Thani.
So that's his most known kunya,
yeah,
I'd say,
yeah.
of course.
You know, you just remind me of a point that in most narrations of especially fiqh, fiqh narrations. For example, the book of Al-Wasa'il, when you find a hadith by certain imams, they're not named by their names, but by their kunya. For example, Imam Sadiq is always mentioned as Abu Abdullah. عن أبي عبد الله سألت أبا عبد الله قال أبو عبد الله. Imam al-Baqir قال أبو جعفر. Imam al-Kadhim Abu al-Hasan. And three of the imams had the title Abu al-Hasan. Imam al-Kadhim, Imam al-Rida, and Imam al-Hadi. Imam al-Hadi. All three of them were called Abu al-Hasan. And how do we differentiate between them? Abu al-Hasan, period, is Imam al-Kadhim. Abu al-Hasan al-Thani is Imam al-Rida. Abu al-Hasan al-Thalith is Imam al-Hadi. Sometimes the numbers are not mentioned in the narrations. We have to see who the narrator is.
So then you can trace back to who it was.
We discover from the narrator, the one narrating, for example, عن زرارة قال أبو عبد الله. Zurara is one of the companions of Imam Sadiq. And so on and so forth. Anyhow, Imam al-Jawad, his kunya is Abu Ja'far al-Thani. He was born in the city of Medina on the 10th of Rajab, the year 195 after Hijrah, according to Shaykh al-Tusi in his Misbah al-Mutahajjid. There's another narration In fact, there's a more popular narration that says he was born on mid-Ramadan, on the 15th of Ramadan.
The more popular.
That's the more popular narration, but it's not the narration that Sheikh Al-Tusi depends on. Sheikh Al-Tusi depends on the 10th of Rajab, which we're celebrating now. He was born in the year 195 and died in the year 220 after Hijrah. That makes his age 25 years.
25 years, yeah.
He lived 25 years. And maybe some of our viewers don't know that. You know, when you hear of Imam al-Jawad, we tend to have an image of the Imams as old.
As an old, pious man, grey beard.
Grey beard, long beard. Yeah. No one would imagine that Imam al-Jawad is 25.
And you remind me, it's the same with Fatima al-Zahra as well. People don't imagine her to have been killed at such a young age.
Yeah, they imagine her to be an old lady.
An older lady, yeah.
She was not an old lady. She was either 28 or 18 or 28, ranging
between that range,
in that age period. Imam al-Jawad was 25 years old, very young. Maybe a great deal of our viewers are older than 25. Imam al-Jawad at the age of his death was younger than maybe the average age of our dear viewers. Amazing.
And if I want to think about it, so the Imam passed away around my age. So if I link it to myself.
So I'm assuming you're 25?
Around my age.
Okay.
So yeah, so if I want to link it to my life, such responsibility, the leadership of a ummah in the hands of a 25-year-old, an Imam.
Amazing.
It's actually amazing.
Amazing.
It's actually amazing.
And we will see that him being an Imam wasn't something symbolic. As we talked about in a previous episode on the life of Imam al-Hadi, Imam al-Hadi also became an Imam at the age of 8. Imam al-Jawad also, we will see that he became an Imam at the age of 8. Imam al-Hadi, his son, also became an Imam.
إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما سبحان الله والحمد لله ولا إله إلا الله ولله الحمد الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله